Hey guys, and welcome back to join us for another episode of Our Adventures.
In Middle Earth.
That's right.
That place we all know and love.
And we are fond of adventuring in. And we've been to two
Yep.
big tournaments
Yep.
in Ontario.
Two.
In the last month, I guess. One was yesterday.
Yeah, and they're pretty much right down the road from each other. Like they're
Yeah, they were
probably
close.
like
They were
25 minutes apart.
We'll get to them, but in
Yeah.
short, they were. The first one was put on by the O.H.A, Ontario Hobbit Adventures.
Yep.
And it was a fantastic event, and that takes place in a big convention here in Ontario called O.H.A. And it's a miniature gaming convention, a lot of historical stuff there.
There's some really cool stuff.
Yeah, we went to it last year too, and it was fantastic last year as well. So that was the first one.
Yes.
And then yesterday, and it was on today too, but we weren't able to go to the second day. The Council of the Wise. Come on, man.
Yeah, it was yesterday and I forgot.
Do
I'm so exhausted.
you remember where it was?
Is it just
You drove there.
just outside of Kitchener.
Right.
I was in like Autobot mode.
Autobot.
Roll out.
So we'll get to those. We'll do a little bit of coverage. We'll try not to get into too much detail on.
Yeah, we're
on
not gonna dig into the.
Yeah. Because we always talk way too long about our games and stuff.
We promise that we'll try not to do that this time.
And honestly, Hot-Led, actually the tournament was called the War of the Ring. That was, near on a month ago now. So, like, I'm struggling to remember who I played.
It's a month ago tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But in the meantime,
we've got some new stuff.
New stuff. And we've spoken about this, I think, before.
Yeah.
But Battle Company's book, made to order miniatures, and Durnhelm
All came out yesterday.
Yeah.
While we were at the event.
So did you jump on any of that stuff?
Well, I got you to order me the Battle Company's book.
Yeah, you guys.
You still owe me some money from models we've traded, so...
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. So I ordered both of us Battle Companies, so it's in the mail. Probably get it within the next few days, I would think.
Yeah, if you order from their website, they usually ship it out on the Saturday or whatever. So
hopefully we'll get it Tuesday, maybe Wednesday.
And we can have a in-depth review video about it.
Yeah.
We'll be like, oh my gosh, they changed everything and they listened to everything we said.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
It looks good. Like, I've read everything on it that's been put out online and in game or in White Dwarf. The White Dwarf article had quite a bit of information on it.
Cool.
So I'm excited about it. It looks like a really solid, more of a definitive edition of the game than the previous one. So
yeah, and they've got like a map campaign.
Yeah.
In it, I know one of the local Games Workshop stores has already posted up that he's going to be running something because the store manager enjoys the Hobbit game. So
yeah.
But obviously can't make it out to events because he's working on the weekends. So
what about Durnhelm?
Durnhelm, didn't buy it.
Me either.
I'm gonna wait till we go to a tournament and I might win one.
You know what? That was it wasn't my thought of winning one, but like all the new small box sets of the plastic models, like Gandalf the Three Hunters, Legolas and Toriel. Like the last tournament that I won something at, I chose the box of Legolas Toriel. So they're not new models, but they've been repackaged in a single, like the small size box.
Yeah, to lower the sprue count down.
Yeah. So I didn't order that because I had ordered enough stuff already to get free shipping from Games Workshop. And I figured, you know what, I'll eventually pick up Durnhelm because I have Rohan. So
yeah, I don't have that army.
Yeah.
And I've done so many good armies recently. The next one's got to be an evil army. What
about the made to order?
Don't get me started.
Don't get you started.
I
guess that's over now.
There's a lot. Yeah, it ended. Yeah. There was some stuff that I was interested in, but it was it was models for armies that I have thought about doing, but not really needed. So it was one of those, do I just order it to have it, and then it's just going to sit in my model collection forever? And I'll end up selling it to somebody down the road. So I just figured there's no point.
So you didn't go for it.
No, there is. If they do another one and then there's models in there that I could use or that I might think about it. But like for what there was available, there's a couple things like how Brad with the banner. I was thinking about that.
I got him.
Oh, you did?
I jumped on that.
Oh, okay. So, and then there's Searden.
Yeah.
The model that everybody and their cousin probably bought because he's the most broken model ever.
Kind of thinking that might be the one that got the most.
If it's not, it's Halbred. Because Halbred, that's like a model that used to go for like hundreds of pounds.
Yeah.
Like people would buy it for that much money, like the collectors, right? So.
Yeah. I have a bunch of Rangers, a bunch of mounted Rangers of the North that were scratch built by someone else. But I figured that guy there is just a good model to have for that army. So
yeah, there's lots of uses for him.
Yeah.
I was contemplating getting I can't remember his name. Faramir.
Yeah, I got Faramir too.
Yeah, like that was the one model that I was thinking about getting because I've always been interested, and it's an army that I can ally the Army of the Dead with, which is Minas Tirith, and I could put him in the list. But I need to take Aragorn and.
Yeah, I had the old. Well, I don't know which came first, but there's another sort of less awesome model of Faramir mounted where he's on a plastic horse, and I have that one.
Yeah.
But I have an army of Minas Tirith, so I thought, well, I got to get this model.
Sure.
So I got that, and then I got one other thing, and for the life of me right now, I can't remember what it was because I didn't get Círdan or Círdan or whatever his name is.
There was.
I got three things, and I know I got Andrew Brock a couple of things as well, and combined them into one order. But
was it the Orc Stalkers or whatever they're called?
Because I have them already. List off every model that was on the list. No, I'm just kidding.
It was Rangers of the North.
Didn't get them.
Was there some other evil model?
Well, maybe it'll come to me.
I know there wasn't very many evil models. That was the thing.
No.
It was the orcs, and then there was one other.
There's a bunch
thing.
of elves.
Oh, it was Halbred's elves, like the two-handed sword guys and the bow guys from Helm's Deep.
Yeah. Anyway, so didn't get Durnhelm. Did get some of the made-to-order stuff. Did order Battle Company. So hopefully that stuff is all going to be arriving this week. I hope.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many armies that I'd like to do, but
I know. I get carried away. I got so much stuff, and thank God I actually sold an army. One that I hadn't started painting either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like off my to-do list.
Yeah, I'm going forward. I want to do like an army for point level.
Yeah.
So this is my 700 point army. This is my 800 point army. This is my 1,000 point army, and I've got like an 800 point one now that I've painted up and
it's ready to go. When we get to
but then I want to have like an army for that kind of point level. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah. Okay, so March 29th.
Yes.
We went to
War of the
Ring.
Played 4 games.
Yeah.
The first one was Friday night.
It was an overnighter as well.
Yeah. They had our first game was at 9 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah.
Which was really strange.
Yeah, it's odd, but they have to. I think the reason why is because they need to schedule their games to coincide with the start times of gaming sessions at the convention, because that's how the convention is laid out.
It's broken up into this is your time block. So there's one Friday night, there's 3 during the day Saturday, and then I think there's 1 or 2 on Sunday.
Right. And so the tournament was Friday night and then 3 games on Saturday. So we did the this year we didn't stay at the hotel. We actually got an Airbnb, which turned out really good. It worked out good, eh? And we stayed with 3 other guys.
Yep, the Peterborough crew.
The Peterborough crew, yeah. Curtis, Adam Marcel,
and
Curtis,
Mike Collins.
And Mike Collins. Yeah, and then you and I. And it worked out great. I thought it was excellent, actually.
It was. we got there first, got the bedroom that we wanted,
Yeah.
and then we watched a movie and decided to go get something to eat, I think.
Yeah.
And then we headed over to the convention after, played our game, and by then it was almost midnight.
Yeah.
And then basically we went back to the B&B and
Crashed.
talked for a little bit, and then we were off to bed for the night, and got up early and had breakfast, and then the second day happened,
Yeah.
which was like the main event.
So what did you bring? What army did you take?
Usual.
It was the previous one that you worked on.
Yeah, it was it's Return of the King.
Yeah, Legendary Legion, right?
Yeah, I painted up Gimli for it though, so I took the 3 hunters, King of the Dead, and then I think 4 Riders of the Dead, and then a bunch of 19 other Warriors of the Dead. I had a tiny list. It was very small.
Yeah.
There's only 22-ish models, I think, so maybe there was only 13 guys, and the 4 heroes and a couple riders. So it was small. It was a small list.
Right on. I took not a single faction army, which is kind of unusual for me because normally I go single faction, but I took Isengard with Moria.
Mordor?
Or Mordor, sorry, not my. That's the second time I said that. So from Mordor I took the Witch King on Fell Beast with the crown and yada yada because he's so good.
Yeah.
And like I always say, like I think that is better than the Isengard army bonus.
Yeah, 1 item. 125 point, awesome.
Yeah, like the Morgul crown is it's better than the Isengard army bonus. So
yeah.
You know, from a what is more competitive or cost effective, I think that's the right choice.
Sure.
Didn't end up being an awesome result for me, but so I took Witch King on Fell Beast with a bunch of orcs with spears and shields, and then on the Isengard side, I just took I forget if I had 3 warbands or 2. It must have been 3. I would have had Lurtz. I had Lurtz. Thryden Wolfsbane and Vrasku.
Okay.
And then, a bunch of Uruk-hai with shields, some berserkers, crossbows, the usual. Yeah. So how'd you make out in your games? What games did we play, first of all? We all played the same missions there, yeah?
Yeah. The first one was the camp.
Seize the camp, or whatever?
Yeah.
The one where you have to go diagonally across the board. Let's not get into the crazy detail on these games.
I turtled in my corner. That was how my game went. I was playing against 60-something Corsairs with crossbows.
Oh, okay.
I moved out to try and go after... that's one thing they had like a twist on the rules.
Oh, yeah.
They had this.
It's right there, actually, on the table.
There's like these cards. They're like packaging cards or slips or something. But they're called...
George made them all up, I think, yeah.
They're called hunts, and there was... every game, you secretly picked one after you found out who your opponent was, and they gave you either completed it and got 5 tournament points, or you didn't complete it and you got 0. But just like a rough idea.
And there were like 10 or 12 of them in the...
Yeah, there's 9. There's 9,
okay,
and you had to pick from them, and you can only use it once. But
the weird thing about it was that if you got your hunt, it was worth more than winning the game.
Yeah, you could lose the game or you could win the game and not get your hunt, and your opponent would lose and get their hunt
and get more tournament points.
Yeah, and it was like, oh,
it was a really different spin on it. I really liked it, actually.
So it added up. You could be like, well, I could either go for the win and not get this, or I could tie and get this. And it's like, well, obviously tying and getting this is better than that. So.
And I won't be able to remember what I took or if I got it. I know I didn't. I think, if I remember right, I only actually achieved one of them in one of my games.
Yeah, it was the same with me.
Which was disappointing.
But as an idea of what some of them are, it's like at the end of the game, you have 12 warriors within 6 inches of your leader.
Yeah.
So... basically have a bunch of guys around your leader. That's a fairly straightforward one. What's another one here? At the end of the game, your leader has killed the enemy leader. So that one right there mixed with Contest of Champions is
Yeah.
like a double whammy.
Oh my god.
But that's just a couple ideas. So they had a couple of those. It was really cool. There's actually Dan Etwistle from over across the pond had come over for
he
the
came over
the
for it.
event.
He was there for a week prior to the event and visiting with George and Jason.
Yeah.
And I think he was helping do a little bit of prep work for the tournament, actually. And it was the first time I've ever been able to meet him. I've never been over to Articon or whatnot. So
like Andrew and I met. Like he was helping James run the event. He was doing some behind the scenes computer stuff, and he was doing some judging as well at the tables.
Yeah, really nice guy.
Yeah.
I had a couple conversations with him. I didn't get to play him, which was unfortunate. But I did. Like he brought an army of. It was Minas Tirith, and it was mostly all Fountain Court.
Yeah, it was Boromir with a bunch of Fountain Court guard. There was a Ballista, and I think he had Imrahil.
Okay.
And maybe Faramir, because he had a lot of Fountain Court, and it
did.
wasn't enough that one hero could block it.
Mhm.
Maybe a captain as well. But
Yeah, I don't know how he fared in the.
he was up at the
win-loss,
top
was he?
tables. Yeah, I think he played. He played the guy that Adam played in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
In the third game.
Who was the guy you played in the first game?
Yeah.
The guy with the
The
Corsairs.
Corsairs.
Yeah. I
So-
don't remember his name either, but he was a fellow from America.
Rainier? I don't know his last name.
Rainier,
Is.
yeah.
He won Nova last year.
Right.
So
Right.
I remember him from that. But
So
it was good.
highlights. Number of wins, number of losses.
I went 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
Right on.
I did get to do the coolest thing ever. I got to kill a Mumik with the King of the Dead.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah.
Froze his soul or whatever that thing does.
Drain soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I killed the Mumik with the blade. It was awesome. The funny thing is I didn't even really have to do the full wounds because Joseph was shooting at my guys in combat with the Mumik.
Yeah.
With his guys up top. And it was Clash by Moonlight, so it was increase your chances to wound. And he was like hitting his own Mumik, wounding his own Mumik.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he caused 3 or 4 wounds to his own Mumik before I even got to fight him, so.
Alright, so you went 50-50.
Yeah.
I lost my first game, lost my second game, tied my third game, which I think the tie was 0-0. I played Curtis, who we stayed with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last game, I won that one. And for me, that was like, I enjoyed all my games. They were all fun.
Mhm.
I played Tony,
Okay.
Antonio. I played Michael Campbell, who I've played many times in the past. We always have a really fun game.
Sure.
And I played Curtis. And then my last game, I played Mike Anthony, who's from London, who I don't get to play often. I've played him a couple times before. And that game was the highlight for me, just because he was playing Khazad-dûm, which is the army that I've started to play now. And his stuff is like so nice, gorgeous. He won Best Painted.
Yeah.
And he won last time.
Yeah.
His stuff is so good. It was like really inspired me to, I've been wanting to do my Khazad-dûm army because I've had it for so long. I've never really played it in the tournament scene. But like playing against him and playing against that army and seeing it and his basing and painting so good, like
it was good.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. But the tables, like they had a new table there this year. Like every year they have a new table. At least I think it was new to this year, and it was the Lake Town one.
It was. He was working on it. George said that he wasn't 100% complete. But it's like, you look at the stuff and you're like,
George
that's not
like,
100% complete?
God.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I think it was the trim around the edge.
Yeah,
he didn't have the paper around the edge of it to hide
the amount of detail.
Resin.
Like
it was like
George is like an outstanding model builder and terrain builder. His stuff is just ridiculously
it's like
good.
stuff you could see people at like Games Workshop putting models on to take pictures on.
And like I'm like, George, what's wrong with this? Because he was giving me the it's like I'm not happy because I didn't finish it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's not finished? And he's like pointing out like a couple of these like absolutely like minute little, like I didn't dry brush this little post that's sticking out here, and like really small things that only would bother the person that actually
yeah.
made it, right?
And you know, like to him, it's like
Yeah.
it's standing out, and everyone's so in awe of the table that they don't
Yeah.
even really care.
So it used the plastic houses from the GW model
Yeah.
kits, but the actual boardwalks were all, were they Hearst Arts or?
I think so.
Yeah, and so
Heavy table.
they were like a lot of surface area to play on, unlike the GW kits with the very
The
narrow
1-inch.
boardwalks,
Yeah.
which are really difficult to play on.
Yeah, it's one model fighting one model.
So it was like a familiar board that we've played before, but very different also, because there was a lot of surface area. So
Yeah,
it was good.
really nice.
Yeah, so that was the new board for this year, and it went over really well. And he had his other ones from the previous years,
Yep.
you know, the Rohan, Edoras,
Bree.
or he has the wall for Edoras and
Yep.
the gate and all that. Bree building, Rivendell.
Yep.
I think those are the sort of
as well.
Osgiliath, yeah. I think the marquee ones are kind of those four though.
Yeah, they're all the top tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Oh,
solid.
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was good. Really good event. Who won? Do we remember the winners? I remember who won.
Adam was first overall.
Adam Marcel won.
Yep. Second place, I believe, was Dan Entwistle.
Was he? Okay.
Yep. And third was Rainier.
Adam had the Eagles, Gohir Eagles, and Radagast on Sleigh
Yeah.
models. So, was that 800 also, or that tournament?
Yes.
So
it was supposed to be.
models.
It was supposed to be doubles, 400 each person.
Right.
And
Okay.
they didn't get enough teams signed up, so they changed it to singles.
Yeah, which is funny because there was a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was, I don't know how many, but it seemed like it was in the upper 20s, 28 maybe, I'm guessing. But
yeah, they had a lot of people. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was like every year you go and have fun and
yeah,
a
it was
really
a
good
blast.
show.
So yeah, Adam had Eagles, Gohir, Radagast, Dan, we already described his army, Minas Tirith, and Corsair Spam.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 60 model Corsair army.
Yeah, he had.
It's like
Most notably, it was 19 arbalisters, which are the crossbow shield guys. 2 captains with crossbows. Dalamir, I believe the guy's name is Dagmar, or Dagmar, the new guy.
Yeah.
And then filler of the other.
It's a really, really strong army.
Yeah.
It's an army, it's a horde army, so it can win using horde tactics,
Yeah.
and it can also shoot you off the table.
Well, because everything that's not a Corsair Arbalister has a throwing weapon.
Yeah. So it's
And
hard to beat.
Their army bonus is like trapping guys to get I forget what it's called, sneaky stab or something.
And they get what, +1 to wound or?
Yeah, +1 to wound when you trap a model.
Yeah, and Adam and him played in game 4 on top table, and Adam managed to win the game. I forget do you remember the mission, or I forget the mission, but Adam was able to win.
The last one was the piece of terrain hero, Fog of War.
Fog of War, yeah. Right, so that was the War of the Ring for another year.
Yep.
So we'll look forward to that one again next year in
For
March.
sure.
It's always a good one to go to.
Yep. The funny thing is, the week before, like the Tuesday before we went,
Yeah.
I had the snow tires taken off my car.
Oh, yeah.
And we decided, okay, well, we'll take Friday off, and we drove down early, and it was like beautiful. I think it was like 11 degrees. We had the windows open and the sunroof
It's gorgeous,
down.
yeah.
And the event happened on the Saturday, and about halfway through, I'm like, is that snow outside?
Yeah.
And then we look outside, it's like, oh my god, it's snowing, and I instantly was, oh.
Yeah, and it was a crap ride home.
The drive, I was white knuckling the steering wheel the whole way.
Yeah, it was rough. And like normally we stop and go for dinner
Yeah.
And it was late by the time we got out of there.
Yeah, it was about 9
just-
o'clock, I
and
think.
we're like, okay, we're not doing that. It's like hit the nearest McDonald's and off we go.
Have something quick to eat and then back on the road. But yeah, I was like, you couldn't see anything. I think I
Yeah.
stuck behind a big rig just so I could see where I was driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the most unfun part of the whole tournament was the drive home.
The drive home,
At one
yeah.
point I was like, I think maybe we should just turn around and go to the hotel and stay the night
Yeah,
again
stay-
or something.
We'll go again for the Sundays.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll switch gears and we'll talk a little bingo.
That's a bingo. We haven't updated it yet,
No,
but we're gonna go over
we got
right now.
we got a couple boxes to check off.
Yeah, there's some check marks to be done. Okay, so do you want to start at the beginning and work our way?
Sure. Well, we'll just talk about the ones we got done, right?
Okay. Well, we'll go through. Did you finish a good army?
No,
Okay. Did you paint a model for an army you don't currently play?
I already have that one.
Oh, I did that one.
Yeah.
Whoop. Whoop. I should mention this, that I picked up a model at Hot Lead
Mm-hmm.
from a estate sale, which was Treebeard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I got it for a really good price.
Because they have a huge table there of
Sale.
like used.
a bring and buy
Yeah,
stuff.
bring and buy. Yeah.
There was
It's one of the things that convention is known for.
yeah, and it was just like, get out of my way, I want to see what's here. And there's
Yeah.
like stuff piled up on the table. But where I got this from was there was an estate sale for a fellow gamer that I guess had passed away. And they had all this stuff on the table, and it's like, here's the price tag based on what we found on eBay, but give us an offer and we'll either take it or not. So I got a metal Treebeard in box in plastic wrap, and I opened it and used it. But I got it for a good price, so
Yeah.
I started an army.
So that was your inspiration
Yeah.
for the next event.
And as soon as I got home the next day on the Sunday, I bought the rest of the stuff. But yeah, so I painted a model for an army you currently don't play, which was Treebeard. Okay? Actually, it wasn't Treebeard, it was the Hobbit that rides on Treebeard, because they painted up Merry and Pippin.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what that one's for.
Which you got off me.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I borrowed yours. Mine weren't the bases.
No, the ones that you painted you got off me too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how this works, because maybe I can't get this one because of that.
Yeah, you can only check off one. That thing can only qualify for one box. You've already marked it there, so you're out of luck over here.
No way!
Keep going.
Okay, so paint a new version of a model you already own.
You already have it. I don't have it.
Okay.
Still don't have it.
The next one is paint a monster or siege engine. You got that one.
I probably did the easiest possible model to do for that.
Yeah, okay.
Only because I was actually using it in an army, and that was the dwarf ballista for Khazad-dûm. So it's like a little tiny ballista with 2 crew. Siege engine.
Still counts.
It
At
does.
least as one, right? Still counts
Yeah.
as one. I'm actually going to put my thing for this too. Because I painted up Treebeard in 5 ents. And I don't think I'm going to be painting a monster anytime soon. The paint a model for an army I don't currently play is the Merry Pippin, and they're from the Fellowship.
Well, actually, that's legit because they're the foot models, kind of, right?
Whatever. We'll
give it to you.
We'll cheese a little.
We'll give it to you.
Convert a model, simple head weapon swap. You did?
I did.
Okay.
Been playing battle companies up in Barrie with a bunch of guys up there, and I've been playing a Mordor.
Yep.
And one of my bowmen became a character.
Okay.
And I gave him heavy armor, and I have pictures of my conversion, which I will show here.
Cool.
So, yeah, I did like a bow swap.
Yeah, I already have that one, but like basically the army I just did was all converted.
Yeah.
All the ends.
All the ends.
We'll put a picture up.
Yeah. Your army is awesome.
No,
dude.
it was
like,
cool.
Amazing.
It was fun to do. I really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Paint a model and incorporate a technique you haven't mastered.
Nope.
We didn't do that. Build and paint some objective markers themed to match your army.
Nope.
Nope. I didn't watch the Hobbit trilogy, which you've already watched. I did not finish an evil army of 600 points.
I already have.
You already have. Either of us buy a model and paint it within 48 hours? Nope. That's going to be a toughie.
That could happen this week though, if I get those made to order guys come in, and the one that I forget which one it was, maybe it'll be an easy one. In order to get that one, I'm telling you, in order to get that one, you got to buy like a plastic kit.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
rush build.
Cut one model off the sprue,
Yeah.
remove mold lines, prime, and then paint them the next day.
Yeah.
You know, did you see? Well, like some people, like Aaliyah in our group, like painted all 3 of the 3 hunters,
Yeah.
and they're all awesome. And
if I have a
my
weekend
God.
where I'm not doing anything, I could easily do that.
Yeah.
Go out Friday, buy the model.
But you got to get it on Friday. That's the thing that screws you up. It's like for me, if I go to the mailbox on the wrong day and pull the model in, it's like, well, the next 2 days I'm like working late, and that ain't happening.
Okay. Neither of us entered a model into a painting competition. We didn't recreate a scene from our favorite movies. Play all match play scenarios at least once. Guess what? I get to cross that sucker off.
You only needed to play domination.
And that was the first game we played yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm needing that one still.
Finish a model that has been in your to-do pile for over a year. You've already done that. I did not do that. Make a display board for one of your armies. Nope.
Nope.
We didn't read a book.
Nope.
Build and paint a scenery kit.
Nope.
We've both done play a game against an opponent you never faced. Have you watched Lord of the Rings trilogy?
No.
Okay, I've already done that. Build and paint a model, or a new model for one of your armies. I'm currently working on that.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm working on a, I can't remember the name of it, Herald of the Dead.
What, a converted one, or?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm converting it because Games Workshop doesn't want to put one out. I keep, every time I'm like, they're going to come out with one.
Yeah.
Gotta keep that.
As soon as yours is all converted and painted, it'll come out.
It'll be the next box.
Yeah.
Friday it'll like post a picture or something. So did you do that? Or no, that was me that did that. So no, I haven't done that. We both played a game using an army you've never used before. Create a cool scenic base for one of your armies. Nope.
Cool scenic bases.
Oh, bases.
It's like base an entire army. I have a plan for that.
Okay.
My Khazad-dûm army, the next army that I put together, I'm going to redo all the bases, which is kind of a pain because it means I have to remove all the miniatures from the bases they're on now.
And repaint their feet.
And it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And back to when I played Mike Anthony,
Yeah.
and I asked him about his bases, and he's like, oh, it just so happens that I have like a little tutorial on how I did my bases online.
Oh.
With photographs and everything and instructions, and I'm like, what? And send me the link. So he sent me the link.
Oh, cool.
And that's what I'm gonna do.
Is it?
And
like,
it's cork, like you've done them before.
Yeah,
He uses cork and has different techniques that he does.
Oh, cool.
So that I'm gonna try.
You'll have to send that to me too, so I can have a look.
Yeah.
And then the last one is start a new army. And you didn't do it, and I have. I've started many.
My problem with that is that I've already started almost every army.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Like, how do I get that? And like, I have to
pick something you don't already own. You haven't started. You could. Oh no, you bought my stuff that's already painted. The Nazguls.
Oh, the Nazgul, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that.
Anyway, so we crossed a couple off. Our bingo sheet is looking.
Yeah, I got 2.
The center is looking very blank.
Like, what's going on there? All right. Well, we got try to get another couple done for next month.
We'll have Don take a picture,
and we'll stick it up on the screen. Stick that back here.
There you go.
And up.
That is what we call a bingo.
The bingo. Okay. Now on to this weekend's festivities.
Yeah, we promise we're not going to get into every little detail in the missions.
I'll rein you in if I have to.
Yeah, 10 seconds.
I know.
I'll use it all in the first.
Okay, so it was Council of Wise. Yeah,
Yep.
done by Derek Satnick
Mhm.
with the help of his family.
Yep.
Ronan, he played in both
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday, but I'm sure he helped a lot. And Brendel, his younger son,
He was helping.
He was helping, and he was there as a ringer. And I know, like the baked goods they handed out in the swag bags.
Yep.
Like those would have all been made by his family, I'm sure, because
Mhm.
like they have been in past years.
Yeah. No, they were good.
Yeah, and he put a lot of work into the tournament. It was really obvious on our Facebook. He had a lot of posts. He was apologizing to us on the admin channel about, I'm sorry guys, but I'm going to be putting up all these posts. Is it okay? Yeah, go ahead. Don't worry about it.
No, it was good.
Yeah, he had like a ton of sponsors for the event, which is, like, it's only really been done once before.
Okay.
Kind of in our league, I
Mhm.
guess, and that was last year. TGX Adam did that. He had a lot of like game companies come to the plate and sponsor and give prizes.
Yeah.
And so this was the second time that's happened.
It's good.
And like he had so much stuff there that like literally yesterday, everybody walked away with something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like from, you know, a really good prize, and the smallest thing was a 3D printed statue.
I got one of those.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. So that was great. It's always good when everybody gets to leave with something.
Yeah,
in
even
their
just
pocket,
even
yeah.
just something.
And
small.
those of us that signed up, I forget how many, we all got like a little swag bag with
I
stuff.
think it was
in
the first 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, swag bag was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
It had like a couple models in it and some stuff for like basing and basically a couple things from all this the people that had supplied Derek with prizes. It was cool. Or sorry, not prizes. Yeah, prizes with prizes.
So the format was Saturday was the singles tournament, 4 games, 800 points, and Sunday was doubles, 400 points each for 800. And unfortunately, we weren't able to go to the Sunday one because of other commitments, which was too bad because after the Saturday, I really wanted to go to the Sunday one, so I felt like we missed out kind of. But the Saturday was awesome. I know because I asked him last night how many people did he have there, and it was 34.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's tied for our second highest. I think our highest was 36, I think. I might have been 38, but I think it was 36 at last year's grand tournament.
Okay.
Well, this past January. And previously, at a previous grand tournament, we had 34, and then this one was 34. So,
oh wow, that's good. I like that.
yeah, so that was really outstanding. And as far as the convention goes, we were like by far the biggest group there.
Yeah.
By far.
It was a mixture of everything. There wasn't a lot of miniature games going on. There's a couple, but they weren't like. I think there was a Blood Bowl tournament that had 4 people, and there's some people playing Star Wars X-Wing.
Yeah, because it was a convention. It was the convention. I think was it Ragnarok or
Ragnarok.
right? Yeah, and they play everything there.
Yeah,
miniature games, board games, card games.
There's a lot of people doing RPG stuff.
Yeah, RPGs.
They were on the other side of that wall that kind of divided us. So it was neat to go to a convention like that.
They all like looked at us like we all had 2 heads when we all piled in there to take like a group photo at the end.
It's too bad for that one game that was playing like right beside us.
Yeah, that was
because we're doing
too bad.
awards and they were like.
Yeah, like at the end of the tournament when we were doing all of our awards and announcements and prizes, which goes on for quite a long time. These guys are like playing a game like almost right beside us.
Yeah.
But they were patient with us. That was nice of them. So what'd you bring? You kind of let the cat out of the bag already.
My newly painted, built in a month list of Fangorn.
Treebeard, and how many ints?
Because it's 800 points, it actually works out to like the perfect amount.
Yeah.
For this army to work. So it's Treebeard with the Merry and Pippin upgrade to bring it to the point. I think it's 200 points or something, and then 5 ents.
And that comes out exactly to 800, so no points left off the table.
No points left off.
So it's perfect 800 point.
Yeah.
List.
So Basically, for a month, I converted 5 treants.
Yeah, because you had no choice but to order the same model for all of the guys.
Yeah. Like
They do have like a bit of a variant build within the kit though,
they
right?
do. You
like
can pose the arms in different ways.
Yeah, like a couple different faces and a couple different arms, aren't there?
2 different heads.
Yeah.
But the way it works is the legs are the legs, and then there's body, and then there's arms, and the arms have either have an open hand, a big rock, or the other hand is like a little small rock in the hand.
Yeah, yeah.
So. Yeah.
Now you had a guy with a big wooden club. Did you? Was that a?
That was 2 open hands, but I positioned the arms in such a way, and then I took the hands, and I dipped them in boiling hot water, because you can't bend that plastic without it snapping unless you put it in hot water. So I dipped them in with tweezers, and then I had that like log, and I bent the fingers around the log. And then I painted it up and glued it in place.
Yeah, because the funny thing was, like, I took pictures of a bunch of armies there, and I saw yours was across the table, and I got to go around there and take a picture of it, and I forgot and didn't do it. And I never even saw your army.
Oh, really? All day?
No, for the whole thing. Like, I saw it across the table once, and that was it. I never even seen it until I looked on Facebook, and Derek had posted a bunch of pictures, and one was of your army, and I'm like, oh man, this is like so nice.
Yeah, so I'll have to. Yeah, because I sent you a picture of it, but it was like...
Oh, they were like not even painted?
One of them wasn't even finished, the bases weren't done.
No, and the guy with the club wasn't...
No, I did that last,
He didn't have the club or anything, so yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, no, we'll put a picture up of what the picture Derek took. It was awesome.
So, for myself, I ended up taking Khazad-dûm.
Yep.
So I... put an army together from the stuff I already had, and then I needed to paint, I think it was 14 models.
Yeah.
Which for me is a gargantuan task to get that many done. But I did plug away at it for like a few weeks and managed to get those models painted. And a lot of them were in my my backlog, so that was good. Like I did buy a couple of new things, but I got that army ready to go, 800 points.
Just looking on here, have you crossed off the... Oh yeah, you did. You finished a model that's been in your to-do pile for over a year. Okay.
Yeah, I was probably one of the first ones.
Yeah, like my stuff, I actually... Everything has like some kind of minor conversion, because it's not like the ones you see in the box work, the artwork. Like a couple of them, I adjusted the legs by like cutting them shorter, or changed the heads, and well, you'll see it in the picture, but like everything looks different.
Yeah, you put a lot of conversion work into
I tried to paint the trees to be like different actual trees. Like I have a birch tree, and then I have a couple ones that have like brown bark and then the gray bark. I was gonna get into the super high detail of like molding the actual bark on the trees, and then I was like, yep, I only got a month. That is not happening. I'll paint it so it looks like bark.
Yeah.
So
we should say first too that before we committed to our armies, we kind of both, because we go through this thing, right?
Yeah.
Where we're always trying to think of like what's the most optimized list, what's the most competitive list, you know, because we like to talk about it, and us and our buddy Andrew Brock, who's a very competitive player, very good player. But that's his focus, to be fair, is the competitive side. And we get caught up in it, right? But I always bring stuff that's not competitive. It always ends up happening. And you just decide, we both kind of just decided, look, we're going to play stuff that we want to play and that we consider fun and whatever.
I bought my list because I bought Treebeard. And I was like, you know what? I want to do this army. So
even though
I set my mind
it's
to
not going to be a competitive list, let's face it. Right?
That's what Ben said to me when he got there. He's like, did you bring that? I was like, yeah. Did you want to win a game? And I was like, well, yeah, that's the point. But I want to bring something that's fun.
Yeah. But your motivation was not for winning games in the tournament. You were actually going after some of the other prizes.
Yeah, like he had prizes for best painted, display board, theme,
and conversions.
So
yeah, and it ended up that you were planning to do a display board, but couldn't quite get that done and the army.
Yeah,
so
it was
that's hopefully
either get the display board or the army.
Next 800
Yeah.
point tournament.
Well, there's like a thing where you can build a display board for your army.
There you go.
Right? Something on there.
Yeah. So for me, it was like I decided that I was going to play Khazad-dûm.
Yep.
Which
you've talked about
I don't know how much I've said about it on here, but like we talk about it a lot, and like
it's a car ride.
Like I consider it to be an absolutely uncompetitive army, especially in the like Middle Earth strategy battle game edition of the game.
Yeah.
Like I could talk for 2 hours on that army and why it is not competitive in the current edition.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured, you know what, I'm taking it anyway because it's my favorite army. I have it all, and I've never played with it in a tournament, and a lot of it isn't painted. So this is the army that I'm going to play this year.
Yep.
And that's just it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take what you like.
Yeah. So that was kind of our motivation. Anyway.
Yeah, we weren't like, we got to go and we got to win.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, I'm not going to win this one. I know I'm not going to. So
we're gonna do what you're supposed to do. Play what you like.
Yeah.
Having said that, let's just whip through these games. Like okay, like I played first game was Domination, which got you your bingo.
Yep. I was happy about that.
Yeah,
I don't care. I got a bingo check mark. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, I didn't get my one. So I played a young guy named Owen, who was a friend of the Satniks. And right away in the game, I knew he didn't have a lot of experience just in the setup, and he looked a little lost. And so I asked him, like, do you have a lot of experience in the game? And it turned out it's his first game.
Oh.
Yeah. He's like, well, I've played a bunch of campaign and stuff like that, but this is my first match play type thing. And I'm like, all right. So I walked around to his side of the table, and we went through everything. And he had Numenor and High Elves. Gil-galad on horse with a bunch of High Elves, and is it Elendil?
Mm-hmm.
Elendil mounted with a whole bunch of like Numenor. And he had like a half dozen Rivendell knights. I'm like, oh, good God.
There's a couple of those lists there.
Yeah. So in the end, I won, but it was only because it was Domination, and I had 40 models. That's the other thing we didn't mention.
Oh yeah.
This tournament, it was there was one comp thing, and it was that your army was capped at 40 models.
Mm-hmm.
So that was different and kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So I went for the full 40. Did you have close to 40? No, you had like 5 models.
I had 8. If you count the hobbits.
Yeah. So his 2 heroes just like were wrecking face like they do. But I had the model count and ended up with more objectives, and I took my game.
Okay.
Low points. I think it
Yeah.
was 6 to whatever. 6 to 1 or 6 to 2 or something.
My first game against Adam Marcel.
Winner of the previous tournament we were at, and
brought the same list.
You had the same list. So between the two of you, how many models were on the table?
At one point there was 14 in total. Again, if you count the 2 hobbits.
Yeah.
But we each had 6 models on our team.
Yeah.
It was Eagles versus Ents. The showdown of the century.
And it was close.
Yeah, and I was explaining to him, this is my rules, and he's like, what? Like, my Radagast does nothing to you. I'm like, yep, you can't immobilize me, you can't knock me down.
Yeah.
And it actually hurt me that was the only case, because it was like, well, what spell can I cast that works? Oh, I have Renew.
Renew, yeah.
And it's like, I honestly think that he won the game because of that spell.
Probably got a lot of mileage out of it in that, because you would have been wounding him
he healed
frequently,
2
right?
eagles worth of wounds throughout the course of the game, at least.
Yeah.
I didn't keep track, but it was bad.
They have 3 wounds each, right?
They do, yeah. It was a lot of me moving into position and then him flying around. My mobility was really low because I can move 6 inches, but he can fly in. And what happened is, the first contact that we had, it was like fly in. I think he took out an Ent and wounded one really bad, and I did like next to nothing. Then he got priority again. We did the heroic move off. He won the charge. I actually killed 2 eagles, I think, at that point. So it's kind of even, neck and neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Yep, I'm out of here,"
Yeah.
and took off. And then it was like dodging around. Renew, back up his guys. I think at that point I made the mistake of dipping off one of the hobbits to run to one of the back objectives.
Yeah.
I should have kept the hobbit on Treebeard, and if I had done that, it would have been a tie game at the end of the game. I think it might have turned out that way.
So he won.
But yeah, he ended up winning. It was 5-3, so it wasn't like a complete blowout.
Mm-hmm.
We each had one objective to ourselves. Like Radagast had one, and I had Treebeard on the center objective. He broke me, which was a point, and he had 2 eagles next to another objective, and I had a Treant, so he got the 5th point for that. So it was close. Right. And the only reason he got that is because he was able to kill Pippin, who was hiding beside the objective.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't get priority that turn, I would have moved my Ent into contact with 2 eagles, and then I would have tied that objective, and it would have been... He still would have won, but it would have been like a 4-3 win, so...
Okay, you talked like twice as much long as you should have.
Whatever. The rest of my games are going to go by quick, so I lost. But it was a close game. Like, starting off at the beginning, if I had just played it differently, I should have just sat in a clump and threw rocks at him.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a totally different game if I had done that.
Okay, game 2.
Game 2, which was Contest of the Champions.
So you had Treebeard working for you on that one.
Yeah.
And I had Durin.
Okay.
Solid hero, but not awesome in Contest of Champions. Because he's not mounted, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't rack up the kills. I played Chris Mancella.
Okay.
Who's also from our
Local area, yeah.
He was playing all-mounted Rohan.
Beautiful painted army.
It was. I got fortunate in that we played in like a town it was all like buildings.
Yeah.
And the only reason I was able to control his army was because I like blocked off passages so that he couldn't get the full numbers of his cavalry around my flanks and whatnot.
Sure.
And I got exceedingly lucky in, the early stages of the game because we started like right in each other's faces. He charged me right off the bat, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a short game. He's going to ride me into the ground. But like I just won like at least 4 priorities in a row. So and we were both heroic, making heroic moves and all that. So he actually ended up going through his might quite quickly. Right, he had the banner, so he was renewing. Anyways, it was very very tight, and our 2 heroes were doing like this and not wounding each other. So it was going to be a low scoring game.
Okay.
And in the end, what happened was he just got really unlucky on the last turn, and Theoden charged 2 of my dwarves, and if he had won the fight, knocked them down, and killed both of them, he would have won the game. But he just like botched the roll. My guys won the fight, and I ended up killing 3 of his models, and he killed 2 of mine. And I forget, there was something else. I think maybe I wounded his lead. No. What else can you... No, I broke him. Yeah, I broke him also and picked up 2 points for that.
Yeah, breaking.
So I picked up 3 points for the primary objective, I think, and 2 points for breaking him.
Okay.
And I managed to win that game.
There's
but
the
it was
leader
like,
kill leader for points as well.
Yeah, neither of our leaders got hurt. So, but it was the closest of close. Like, they could have lost the game pretty well on a single die roll.
Yeah.
And that's happens all the time.
My game was not that lucky.
No.
No. I have Treebeard.
Yeah.
Great hero for this mission. Probably one of the best. But I was facing Aragorn, King Elisar, with Andoril.
The sword.
The anti-tree sword.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't good for me.
What army, what did you have?
Minas Tirith. But on top
it was Matt, who you played,
Matt.
Right?
As a young guy, he's new to the...
He's a guy from Barrie, yeah.
The rest of his list was some Found Court Guard. I think he had Baragond with like a ranger detachment or like a little group of rangers. And Boromir, Captain of the White Tower.
Oh god. Okay.
So I'm like, Aragorn and Boromir. This is gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't win. I
So they
lost.
just like use might to win fights and then just chop you down.
The
Probably.
only reason I didn't get completely pantsed in that game was because 6 out of the 8 heroic strikes that Aragorn made, he rolled a 1.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But like my army is the worst thing to fight in that mission with that guy as your leader, because he's like, oh, I'm Aragorn, so I'll free heroic strike every turn, which I can like get above your
And
fighter
I
with
wound
your
anything
treants.
on a 4+.
Yeah, I can kill your treants, and oh by the way, when my leader kills a hero or a multi-wound model, I get a might point back.
Oh yeah.
And everything in my army is a hero or a multi-wound model.
Yeah.
So Aragorn was like, chop this tree.
So that's
down.
the thing, like a hero like I was playing with, he like struggles to get any kills.
Yeah.
Whereas a hero like that, you can't stop him from just
No.
killing stuff every turn.
No.
Even ends.
So what I did was, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fighting this guy. I'm like, yep, Treebeard is going to run away, and I'm going to put an Ent in front of Aragorn to like slow him down. And my plan was, okay, Treebeard, you're going to go hunting and killing as many guys as possible,
Yeah.
while I just keep feeding an Ent at a time to Aragorn and Boromir, right? So...
Didn't work though, I guess.
No, he broke me. The thing was, I was getting guys killed, like I was killing guys with Treebeard,
Yeah.
but he was playing smart. Like he ran his guys away from me, so I couldn't get enough
He was
kills.
like, you can just fight that guy.
Yeah. So in the end, it came down to Boromir, Aragorn fighting against Treebeard with a bunch of other guys, got him trapped and killed him. But in the end, it ended up that I had 6 kills with Treebeard, and Aragorn had killed 6 things as well. So it was a tie for the primary objective. But he broke me, and Aragorn killed my leader. So he got, I think it was 4, and I got a point because I got 2 points. I wounded Aragorn with Treebeard. Did I do that? I can't remember. It was a loss, which was devastating to me.
So 2 losses for you so far, and 2 wins for me.
I wasn't expecting.
And me going into the tournament when we were driving down there, I'm like, my goal is to get 2 wins.
Yeah.
If I can get 2 wins,
2 and 2.
If I can go 2 and 2, I'll be happy with this army.
Yeah. So I'm gonna step in here. This is at the point where I walked up and said, "Here's my sheet, Derek. I lost my second game." And he goes, "Oh, you lost your second game? Okay, perfect. Well, because you've lost 2 games and you lost your first game, I'll let you have first pick of these statues." So because I lost lost 2 games, I got to pick a statue.
Oh, sweet.
So it was like a prize for losing. It's like, here,
You're like the first
you
person
suck
to lose
at this
2?
game, you can have a prize.
Is that because you were the first to lose 2 games? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, right on. Okay, game 3.
Lords of Battle.
Lords of Battle. So again, no matter what army you're playing, you're limited to 40 models, and I was playing Ian, who used to play, and then he kind of stopped playing, and he's getting back into it now. Ian's actually the guy that came up with the OSBGL logo.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's an artist.
Oh, okay.
By trade.
Oh, you can tell by the way his army looked that he...
Yeah, so he had Goblin Town and the 3 trolls. So he had the Goblin King and the 3 trolls, plus goblins and the scribe.
Okay.
But because it was Lords of Battle, and I have shooting, he started right up at 24 inches, and I started right at the back, of course, because I gotta use my bows.
Sure.
And I just mostly targeted his goblins. He ended up bringing some goblins in right behind me to like attack my ballista and that, because I was taking pot shots at his trolls. But my goal was just to break him as quickly as I could, because then pretty well you're just dealing with the big monsters. So that's what happened. I broke him kind of as his trolls and stuff arrived at my lines.
Yeah.
And the first turn where we started and he was broken, I just like charged all of his heroes, and like his entire army ran off the table.
Oh, rough.
He's like, he went through the whole thing, like.
I think
and
I arrived after that happened.
Yeah, cause yeah, you did, and like he rolled like courage tests for the goblin. I think he failed 12 in a row. It was rough. It
Yeah.
was really rough, and eventually one of the trolls ran off. I did lose a combat against the sneezy one. Is it Tom? I think it is.
Yeah.
Like he sneezed on my dwarf king to lower his fight. Won the fight. I had him surrounded with a bunch of good stuff, and then he's like, "I'm gonna stomp you to jelly," and I'm like, "What's that do?" And then I took off 5 models, and they were all like Kazagard, Iron Guard, you know,
Yeah.
the odd dwarf war. I was like, "Oh my god!" And he just rolled 5s and 6s on everything. It just killed everything, and I'm like, oh, "This is not good."
Be careful.
Yeah, and he put 3 wounds on, not that same fight, but around then. He put 3 wounds on Durin.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, whoop! And I forgot to use Durin's
no.
6+ save thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just rolled his 1 save, and I think I had to might it in order to pass.
Oh, wow.
And then I just like, next turn, I'm like, heroic move, and run away. I ran away from him. But I ended up winning the game because, you know, even the guys that run off because of a courage test, you get the point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for it. So like I had a ridiculous number of points, and I won that one. I forget what the score was. I think I picked up 5 or 6 victory points.
Okay.
And, yeah.
My game was against Ben Wimmers.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing Thranduil's Halls, Thranduil and Elk,
Yeah.
Palace Guard Captain, and then like a normal captain, like the Glaive Captain.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of Palace Guards, some Rangers, and some normal Elves and Cavalry. And I played the game differently than I normally would, and I set up in a big block, and I hurled stones.
Oh, you did, eh?
Yeah. I think I got a solid turn of throwing the first round, and then the next turn 4 of my guys threw, but through 2 rounds of throwing stones, I got a wound on the elk, and I took all 3 fade off of Thranduil and caused a wound to him. So
right on.
Yeah.
How many stones?
Actually,
was
no,
that?
sorry. I ended up killing his mount.
Like, did they
too.
all throw at him?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
All 6 first turn,
Yeah.
and then the second turn 4 of them threw, and Merry and Pippin.
Was it a surprise to him when you did it, or
No.
No, he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I used 2 might on Treebeard
Yeah.
to kill the elk. Because I was like, yeah, that guy can't do that. So yeah, like Thranduil, we clashed.
Mm-hmm.
Thranduil makes his guy surprisingly good. Being higher, like his captain, Palace Guard captain, goes to fight 7, so he's like tying my treants, right? And he has an elven blade, so I think he won the 2 roll-offs that we had. But this was a game where I got to actually test the awesomeness of Ents.
Yeah.
Because it was...
Because you were fighting against a largely conventional army, right?
Yeah. So he piled in on one guy and had a captain there, one of the Ents, and I won the combat. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this bludgeoning rule that they have, their brutal power attack.
Yeah.
Because he had a captain and like 3 other guys. So you pick up a guy, and you basically use him to beat his friends to death with. So I picked up the captain, because he's got multi-wounds, right? I'm like, okay, well, let's do this. First guy, bam, 1. Excellent. So I failed the wound, because you do a strength 8 hit, right?
Yeah.
But it still causes a strength 8 to the captain. Caused a wound to the captain, lost his fate.
Yeah.
So he lands on the ground. Next guy, I think I killed a couple. Basically,
Seems like a really good way to kill a hero.
It is.
That.
Oh, it's one of the best
ways. Because you're putting hits on the hero and on other stuff at the same time.
But they have to be in combat with you, so they have to surround you.
Yeah.
So you don't really want to surround an Ent with a hero and a bunch of guys.
But that's how you kill them, though.
Yeah. The thing that won me the game was the next turn after we clashed. I had Treebeard he had charged 2 cavalry into Treebeard. Thranduil and a bunch of guys around a tree end, or an Ent beside him. That fight went first. Didn't kill my guy, but made me back up. And then we did the Treebeard one, won the combat, and I barged,
Mm-hmm.
pushed the 2 cavalry back, knocking him off, and Thranduil was right there beside me,
Yeah.
and he hadn't struck, so I was like, well, I'll just move into him. Combat happens again, 2 wounds, dead. And I knew that was going to be the thing I had to do in that list. Like, as soon as Thranduil goes away, they lose a lot of their buffs. Like, basically every elf within 3 inches gets +1 to wound, and I'm like, yep, can't have that happen. Because I had lost an Ent and almost 2 by the time.
It's to say, a lot of armies are like that now. Like Fiefdoms with Imrahil is like that. Rohan is very like that now too. With
the
their
+1
heroes.
to wound is ridiculous.
Yeah, they're like they have buff radius things going on.
So I tried that basically to speed things up. I did that bashing again, like the bludgeon, a couple other times. And it was like every time I was doing it, I was failing the first guy, and I'm like, this is dumb. This rule sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like winning, so I can't really complain, right? Near the end of the game, after he was broken, I was like, pick up a guy, and there was 5 guys. Bam, 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 dead. Next combat, 4 guys. Bam, 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 dead.
Like, so all of a sudden it started working, and you were killing like whole war bands.
Yeah, when I wasn't picking up a captain, I was killing a bunch of guys, right? So it was very fast. The game was over in 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was really quick. That was when I came over.
Well, that's what happens when you play with 6 models, I guess.
Yeah, and it just so happened that like.
That's crazy. I had 34 models more than you.
Yeah.
In my army.
Well, it's like when you have the big models, right?
Yeah.
So it was my only win. I spoiled it, but I'll talk about my next game next.
Okay.
And it was the fastest game I've ever won of The Hobbit.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, it was in 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 12-0.
Right on.
Yeah. So
good for you.
That was that.
Game 4?
Clash of Moonlight. I'm just going to do mine because it's
quick. Go ahead. Finish it off.
So I just had won the fastest game of Hobbit that I've ever played. This game was the fastest loss I'd ever had of this game. It was another like 45, 50-minute game.
Yeah.
I played against Dwayne. Great guy.
Yeah.
Love playing against him. He was playing the Grey Company.
He's like so enthusiastic.
He is.
Dwayne.
It's so great to play. Honestly.
Like even when you're playing like 3 or 4 tables down from him, you can still hear him because he's like so into it.
Yeah.
It's like awesome.
But like you can't have a better 4th round opponent.
Yeah.
Than this guy. Like it's like the end of the day.
Even when you lose in your shortest time ever.
And I made the joke.
What did he have anyway?
Well, he was playing Great Company. So he had Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas, the twins, Haldir.
Okay, so it was a hero.
And then a bunch of Rangers of the North.
Okay.
And we're playing a Clash by Moonlight. Everything's got a bow on his side.
Okay, and it's +1 to wound.
+1 to wound, and the range is limited to 12 inches. So I'm like, I throw stones.
So your 18-inch range is no good.
It sucks. The funny thing is, at the start of the game, I was like, because it was the last game, I'm like, it's the last march of the Ents. And everyone around us was like, ah. I was like, yeah, because it's the last game. It's my last march.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, you don't need to tell us.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
So I kind of blew that one, but it was move up, and then I was like, okay, well he's not in range, but he was like hiding in like a little building, and he moved out of the building, so he's half moved to get into range to shoot me, and I was like, ooh, this isn't good, and he goes, I'm gonna fire everything at Treebeard. And I'm thinking, that's weird.
Well, this is the thing. Heroes with bows with might. It's not good.
Yeah. So it was, okay, everything's firing, and your bows normally need 6x5 with the human bow, and 5 or 6x4 with the elf bows, are now 5x4 and 5x3. So he's like, whoop, roll to wound. Well, he hits a bunch of times, rolls to wound, and he's like 1 number off of what he needs. Okay, well, I'll spend my 1 point of might that I have. Whoop, wound. First round, all my fate stripped off. Gone. Next turn, he's there. And I'm like, okay, well, you're going to just stay there and shoot me, so I'm going to stay here and throw my stones at you. Nope, backs into the terrain. So I basically stood there for a turn and did nothing. Next turn, move up. That was the biggest mistake of the game, was me not moving that turn. I should have moved and then moved again. I move up, and I'm in range. He's like, okay, I'm going to stand still. Shot me, killed Treebeard.
Yeah.
Peeled a couple wounds off some guys.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
It's like,
oh
my god.
now Mary and Pippin are on the ground. That was the other mistake I made, is I should have had those two guys and just been like, yep, you guys are off, and you can hide and train for
Hide
the
in the
rest
back
of the
of
game.
the board, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple things, but I was like, I'm no
You
more
make that,
near-
Mike. You make that kind of mistake in game 4 because you're usually tired and thirsty and hungry.
Well, and like if it was a top table, I might have
Yeah.
thought differently, but like, who cares at that level, right? But anyway, so it was like, get into close enough range, they fire at me, I throw a couple stones. Next turn, go to move in, Aragorn turns on the charms.
Yeah.
Aragorn and Gimli are just like,
Time to cut down some trees.
yeah, I have Anduril, and he has an axe.
Yeah.
So Aragorn runs in, heroic strikes for
Yeah.
free. Gimli heroic combats, and they kill 2 trees in one go. Boop boop.
Oh,
25%ed me, game over.
rough.
Yeah, because I had Ent and
Yeah.
Pippin hiding in the back.
Yeah. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it was very fast.
Yeah, yeah. At least it was like to Dwayne, who's
Yeah.
a fun opponent, and
Yeah. Well, he's like, ooh, this is going to be bad for you, because his army is all heroes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ooh, I actually have a chance, because like I could kill more heroes than him and have
Yeah.
a guy alive.
the thing is, people always forget in this mission, like shooting is so deadly in
Yeah.
this.
Well,
Like
that,
it seems like when you read the mission, it's like, oh, I have archery in my army. This sucks because now I only have 12-inch range. No, but like your shooting when it happens is nasty.
yeah, the kill zone is like a kill zone.
Well, because like we've said before in this game, as far as rules go and special rules and everything, +1 to wound is where it's at. Like
Devastating,
it's rough.
Well, that mixed with the fact that everything he had in his list had a point of might or more.
Yeah.
Like, I think he had like 23 points of might or something.
Mhm.
So he's like, yeah, I'll spend the point of might to cause a wound.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I'll spend
because
the point of might to
you
cause a
don't
wound.
have to do that too many times in order to take out models on your side.
No, 'cause he's
you only
turning-
have 6 models or whatever.
What would normally be a 6x4
Yeah.
or a 6x5 turns into a 4x2 or by 3
Yeah,
because of that and the might point.
yeah, it's well worth
And
it.
I'm just
yeah.
like, oh, then
Mhm.
that's why my game ended quick. I
Yeah.
got in a couple combats and,
Yeah.
and it was just basically dead.
So on my side,
Yeah.
I was absolutely shocked at this point in time. Here I am playing this army that I go on and saying how terrible it is and how uncompetitive it is,
And you're on 3 wins.
and I'm on 3 wins.
So you're like, you're in the top. Like there was
Yeah.
only 4 people that had 3
Yeah,
wins.
there was
at
only
this
4
time?
people with 3 wins going into the last game. It was myself, Joseph, Adam, Marcel, and
Ronan.
Was it Ronan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ronan. And I had only got like 5 or 6 points for all my games, so of course I wasn't on top table.
No.
I played Joseph on like the second table.
Yep.
And I have a horrendous record against Joseph in our tournaments, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure if I've even beat him
No, I don't
previously.
think you have.
Maybe like way early when we first met.
Yeah, it's still fresh in the game.
I don't know, but like at least my last 4 or 5 games against him, I've lost.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I've been in this position before, having played in over 50 tournaments probably by now, where I've come to game 4 with 3 wins. Hasn't happened often,
No.
mind you, but usually when it's like win, 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 smack, loss.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you're usually playing Andrew in the final
Yeah,
game.
like because inevitably you're playing one of the top players, like Joseph, Andrew, Ben,
Adam.
Adam, all of these guys that are really tough opponents.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I drew Joseph, and he had Iron Hills.
Yep.
Not 40 models, but like 37. He had a twirly whirly, had all the usual stuff. The different part of his army was he had crossbows. He had 11 crossbows.
Oh.
So he sacrificed the shield and like the what's that rule where they get the extra defense?
Shield wall.
Yeah, so you're kind of sacrificing that to go with crossbows, but crossbows are brutal. Like
There.
yeah. Now this was only range 24. So anyway, by this point I'm like, okay, I'm not coming across the table to fight you. And if you want to sit there and fire your twirly whirly at me every turn, needing a 6 to hit because of the special rule of the tournament, knock yourself out, right? Because like I've just gone through this horrible back pain thing, and I'm like, I'm not leaning over this table, right? And he's like, okay, well, Don, are you gonna stand there like for the whole game? And I'm like, yep. And he's like, okay. So he started like marching across, fire twirly whirly, kill like one guy every other turn or something. And he's like, march up 5, 10, 15, 20. Finally gets in range. He's like just outside of 12 inches, trying to decide what to do. And then next turn he like moves in. And I fired everything. Boom! Killed 6 of his models. Because I had 10 bows.
Yeah.
4 dwarf bows, 6 dwarf longbows, and 4 iron guard with throwing weapons.
Okay.
So as soon as he came within 12, I like moved my iron guard up to within 6 inches, so they couldn't be charged, but they could still throw.
Sure.
And I killed 6 of his models, which is like everything needed 6 to wound. Or in the case of some, actually it was 6s by 4s, but with the +1 wound, like everything all of a sudden, I was just picking, okay, the human bow will fire at the crossbow guy, needing a 6, down to a 5.
Yeah.
So everything needed a 5. And it was just with that many shots, you know, I was slightly above the curve in my rolls, and it was like, whoa. And then the second turn, he's like, okay, I'm going to stand still, and I'm going to fire at you. And I had one priority, so he's like, I'm going to call, he had Murn and Drar, so he's like, I'm going to call a heroic shoot with Drar.
Okay.
And I'm like, alright, knock yourself out. And so he rolls, miss. He did nothing. Right? Or like he hit a couple times and then didn't wound.
Yeah.
Right? So he's just like, just fired everything, didn't kill a guy, basically, right? And I'm like, fire! Boom, 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 boom. And I killed like another 5 or 6.
Oh, wow.
Right? And he's like, okay, I've had enough of this. Retreat! And then he was like, back the opposite way, like 5, 10, 15, and I was now chasing him, right? Down the table. And the thing was that in this game, like, all you have to do is kill one hero on the other guy's team.
Yes.
And it can potentially win you the game.
Because if you kill more heroes than them and have a hero.
And I had 3 heroes with 1 wound. 2 heralds and a veteran siege guy.
Yeah.
So my ballista, I just immediately moved it out of line of sight of his army so that he couldn't fire it, and just crossed my fingers that he wouldn't fire at my heralds. The King's Champion has 2 heralds and they're heroes, but they have 1 wound and 2 fate. So at the end of the game, he told me, and I said I was worried about this for the whole game, that you were just going to target one of them and kill him, and then I'd be behind the 8 ball. But he's like, oh, I just didn't because they have 2 fate, so I figured I'd fire at other stuff. And I'm like, okay. But I chased him down the table, and he ran out a table pretty well. And so the next turn was going to be me moving into range. He'd got 1 round of crossbow shooting at me, and then I'd like lay into him. Plus, like all 6 of my dwarf rangers that had dwarf longbows also had throwing axes, so they're strength 3, right? So what ended up happening was, just as that was going to happen, he says, the hell with it, and just charged with Dane. Because I kept my iron guard up front to keep them in range. And I figured if you want to come and charge at this point, you know, go for it. So he did that. Charged, killed him, heroic combated, killed 2 more guys. And he was on my flank. And then the next turn, he won priority. And he ran around my flank into my back and charged one of the heralds. Oh. But the herald was in base contact with the King's Champion. I'm like, okay, so it's going to be a heroic strike off. And so I surrounded him, and he rolled a 1, right? And I won, killed him in 1 go, right? And that was it. So I won the game. It was 3-1 in the end, and I went 4-0 with an army that I was not even sure could win 2 games. But the thing was that the mission draw for the army was really good.
Yeah. Well, I always say that, like every time we're driving somewhere, it's like, man, the missions are so important, and your opponent and the mission draw. Well,
like was it last episode, we went through our list of missions and what you need, and only one of the missions that we played required mobility, and that's domination, right? But in that game, I was able to win win that game anyway because my opponent had a smaller army than I did because he had like 2 hugely expensive heroes.
Yeah.
So I was able to send like 1 or 2 guys over here and 1 or 2 guys over here, and they weren't bothered for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got really fortunate on the mission draw, and so for the very first time after, like I say, like approximately 50 tournaments, I went 4-0, and still did not win the tournament.
Yeah, I think like dwarves are good, but I don't think they're like we talked about getting maximum victory points out of a win. They can win games, but they're not going to maximize their victory points.
They don't win 12-0.
No, but you can still win.
You
so
can, yeah.
That's why it ended up that you didn't get the win.
Yeah.
If it was 5 games, you would have been playing the actual winner, and with your list, you probably could have done some stuff. To
like
him.
I ended up getting 19 victory points over my 4 games.
Sure.
And Adam Marcel won his game and came in first. I mean, he had 2 games at least where he got like 12 victory points. Right there, he's over me.
Sure.
In victory points, plus the 5 or whatever it is.
I held him back.
Yeah, I think you were the only one where he didn't get like
Max.
maybe 12 or 10 at least anyway.
Good. I feel good that I did that. I held him back. I didn't win, but I held him back.
Yeah, so for some crazy reason, I was able to actually win 4 games with my dwarves, and I was in second.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
You get a prize for it?
I did. So let's just see as we're on that. We'll finish that off. So Adam, he came in first. I came in second, and Ben Boomer came in third. And for the prizes for us guys, he had arranged to 3D print some Lord of the Rings swords.
Yeah.
And what I got wasn't a sword.
No.
So Adam picked the Glamdring, and they're full size.
Yeah, it was like a huge sword.
Yeah.
It was in like 6-inch segments.
Well, because you can only make a piece of it, however big the bed is on the 3D printer.
Yeah.
But I picked this.
Celebrimbor's hammer.
Yeah. So this is the hammer used to forge the rings.
Yeah, I was like, man, why wouldn't? Because Adam got to pick out of the 3.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh God, please don't pick the hammer. I want the hammer, even though it's an elvish hammer. It's still a hammer, which
Hammer's a dwarf.
Yeah.
But it's like it's the hammer that forged the rings of power.
Yeah. So yeah, this is going to go on. I might see if I can do a bit of more painting on it because it's he sprayed it silver.
Yeah.
But I might be able to do a bit more work on it. We'll see.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah. It's so light, eh?
Yeah, I wonder if he put some. He must have put some filler on it because you don't see like the. You don't
joint.
see the.
It's not very visible. Yeah.
Well, there's a joint here, but you don't see the 3D. Like the lines that they do.
Yeah, you don't get that on all of them actually. Depending on the machine.
I think it's actually printed like this because you can kind of see the lines. Anyway.
So that was first, second, and third.
Yep.
We also had a little prize during the game. Derek likes to do this at his tournaments. When you hand in your scorecard, there's a little spot for 1s and 6s.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can keep track of all the 1s and 6s that you roll during your game. It's hard to do, easy to forget, even if you want to do it. But I did it, kept track of them all through the game, and in the end, I won for the most number of 1s. And I came in second, and I owe it all to the throwing weapons.
Yeah.
Because with the throwing weapons, you just get that many more rolls.
Oh, like those 2 things, the 1s and 6s,
Yeah.
is who gets to roll the most dice.
Yeah.
Like I have no chance to get that because I'm playing with 6 models.
Well, the thing too is like when you're going for that, you roll all your dice, even if you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because like I'd trap a guy with like 5 models, and I'd roll my first 5 attacks and kill him. Well, I'm rolling the next 5, boom, and then I get there's a 6 and 2 1s.
Yeah.
You got to do that. So you just keep doing that every game.
Yeah.
So I won for the most number of 1s. And Ben won for the most number of 6s.
Who came in
so
third?
the second and third place guys won.
Yeah.
Won for that, and I got a pair of skull dice.
Yep.
Which
And I think
know they're over there.
Ben got some gold or green metal dice or something like that.
Yeah, but the thing was here too, like Derek put a lot of work into some custom trophies.
Yes.
And there were 4? Or
There's 4 of them, yeah.
3, 4. Yeah, there were 4. And they're really nice. Like
they're awesome.
Yeah, they were really like all handmade, like a handmade, like what do you call it? Like a base, with like a model on top, which was magnetized.
So you could use it if you wanted to play.
Yeah, really nice for display anyway.
Yeah.
And those prizes were for best display, best painted, best theme, and best conversion. Okay, so you want to go through these?
Well, let's do this one.
Okay, we'll do that one. This didn't get a trophy.
No, this was just an honorable mention.
And it's again another one that Derek is fond of putting in his tournaments.
Yeah, it was for
rotten cheese.
Rotten cheese. And Andrew Brock didn't win it this year.
No, yeah.
Which is surprising.
He's
or
like,
Ronan, because they're
Ronan.
usually the top
well,
two.
Ronan's won it for the last few times in a row.
That's true.
So I don't know if that influenced his decision on his army build.
Yeah. So again.
So this is voted by the players.
Yeah, it comes down to. It's funny that the winner or the co-winners for this were like 2 of the top people, but Ben and Adam tied for most rotten cheese.
Yeah.
And Adam came in first, and Ben came in third.
In the tournament.
In the tournament, so it's like, yeah, if you take a cheesy army, you're gonna still.
So I was the only one on the podium with no rotten cheese on.
There you go. But you got the most number ones too.
Yeah.
So you like super earned your spot.
I did, yeah. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And well, we didn't say what army Ben had, and I don't know exactly. I think the issue with his army was because it was men, right?
It was people from different time zones.
It was 3 faction, and they were different time periods.
Yeah, it was Malbeth and Arvidui, with some guys from Arnor.
Okay.
Then he had the twins, and then he had Huron the Tall with some Minas Tirith guys.
Okay.
So it was like a. What do they call that? The Red Allies.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
they might have
if
been
they
yellow.
were Red Allies, I don't think there was anyone else in the whole tournament with a Red Ally.
Matt, the guy I played, technically was because he had Aragorn and Boromir. I believe that's their.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the stipulations. If they're not, yeah, because they weren't alive. Like Aragorn or Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, was not there when Aragorn was king.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, because he had King Elisar. Okay, let's go. Yep. You start.
Best display.
Actually, no, hold on. You, me. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll start with best display. It was Nick Vanny.
Okay.
And he had Return of the King, the army I usually take.
Yeah.
Beautifully painted stuff. The Army of the Dead was like all hand painted. Like normally people just quick dry brush.
Yeah.
But his stuff was really nice. But his display board was insane. Yeah. It was the dock scene where they jump off the boat.
Yeah.
And
the Corsair ship.
He had like a water bit of it and the dock.
Yeah.
But then he had a ship.
Yeah.
And there was like sails on the ship. Like it was amazing.
I was talking to him about it because remember when we went to Nova 2 years ago and we did the demo of Blood and Plunder?
Okay.
And they had those ships, but they're resin, and then you build the rigging yourself or whatever. We talked about it, and he was familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
And he said, yeah, but this one that's all made from scratch, like, I guess, out of balsa wood or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and someone said that his wife was, like, sewing the sails the night before or something like that. So, that's pretty cool.
It was nice, yeah.
Well, there's his board.
There were 3 really nice boards there.
And I think Steve Stokes got an honorable mention.
Yeah.
So, it was good.
Okay. Best painted went to Chris.
Yep.
What's his last name? I just forgot it. It starts with an
I always mispronounce it. It's Mansella.
Mansella, yeah. Chris Mansella, who's from our area here. Yeah. We should have gone down together with him.
Yeah, well, we had to go pick up Drew. And,
yeah.
But anyway.
Next time.
Yeah, he, what was I going to say?
I don't know, but while you're thinking, he had all-mounted Rohan on a nice display board. It wasn't one of the top ones, but it was like a good one.
Yeah.
And his army, like just like the whole army, all well painted, all together. It was.
He
nice.
said he had wanted to go for best painted.
Yeah, and it's not the first best painted he's won. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
Well, there was like a multi-tie at Dueling Grounds.
Oh, okay.
It was between my Army of the Dead, Smog, and his.
So he picked I forget. Do you remember which trophy Nick picked?
Well, the order's kind of off.
Okay.
Chris
Oh,
got
yeah,
to
yeah,
pick
yeah.
first.
Just what did he pick? Do you remember?
It was Elendil. No,
Okay.
not Elendil. Isildur.
Oh yeah, the
It was like
clear.
the clear resin, so
Yeah.
it looked like he was wearing the ring.
Right.
So it was pretty cool.
Okay, so that's 2.
And then Nick picked, I think he picked the Frodo, the invisible Frodo.
Okay.
Okay? And then the next one is for best theme.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua Dale Harmon won for his really cool, like he wrote a story for his list.
Yeah.
And I personally haven't read it or didn't read it when I was there, but he's like made up.
Well,
Like a background to
yeah,
his army
he's shown some of the work he's done on our Facebook group,
Yeah.
and he's like, it's like he's doing his like master's degree on like creating like a new what do you call it, a faction, let's say for
Yeah, because he is. He's trying to make.
I guess it's Gondor-ish.
Yeah, something like that.
And some of the stuff he's put out is like really a lot of work and detail
Yeah, it
has
was
gone
like
into it.
Suladan and something else. I can't remember what the name of the story was, but it's like the serpent
Yeah.
versus the Watchers of Karna, and then like a spirit army or something like
Yeah.
that.
So he put a lot of thought and effort into it.
We should have looked into it more, but
Well, I didn't know that he had done it until after everything was over and people
Yeah.
had gone home, and then I heard about
It's
it, and
all
I'm like,
packed up.
oh, geez.
I think it's posted in one of the pictures
Oh, is it?
for the
Oh,
pictures.
I wonder
that
if
Garrett
it's legible.
took. So we
read it.
should have a look at that. But yeah, so that was best theme.
Okay.
And there was honorable mention to myself
Mm-hmm.
and Nick Vanny as well.
Right on. Right on. All right, and that's it for Council of the Wise.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Ah! Best conversion.
Went to me.
Yeah.
I got one of the things I was going for. Woo!
Right on. Congratulations.
I know. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
So you took the model. Which model was it again?
The Ent model.
No.
Oh.
The
The
trophy.
prize?
Yeah.
Because I had to pick second
Yeah.
out of the list. I don't know where it came from or where it's from, but it's like a little miniature of Tolkien.
Yeah.
He had his little pipe. And I was like, man, Chris got to pick first and he didn't take it. I was like, ooh, I'm
Yeah.
going to take this. Like, I was
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about Frodo and I'm like, no, this is too, like, this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
one-off.
I would have picked that one too.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's cool. We're going to have to put a picture of it up.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
And
do
I can do I'll have to take the model home with me and then,
Yeah, because I still have the model. It's in my
yeah,
case, but you
I
have
have
the base.
display base
Yeah.
in my house.
Yeah,
Well, there's actually pictures of it. There's pictures of all 4 of them together
yeah.
on the site, so we can post that up.
All right, that sounds good. All right, now that is all there was for Saturday for Council of the Wise.
Yeah.
The Sunday, which is today, will have finished by now, but we don't know anything about the results.
Yeah, they're not posted
So
yet.
we'll have to look
They're
those up.
probably posted now, but
Yeah. Too bad we weren't able to go.
look at my phone. No, okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Oh my
that's it
gosh.
for that.
It's 8:30. We gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go prepare myself for the next 2 hours.
Oh yeah. Game of Thrones going on. Last item. So we're gonna go on now to Flotsam and Jetsam, and we've already recorded this
Yes.
like a week
It's
ago.
a pre-recording.
It's a pre-recorded Flotsam and Jetsam, and it was so long that we're actually gonna break it down into 2 halves, and we're taking a look at kind of the best and worst of, or I guess the biggest winners and the biggest losers.
Yeah.
Of the Middle Earth strategy battle game edition of the rules in terms of faction.
Yeah.
And we brought in a special guest for it.
We did.
Yeah, and it was like our most competitive buddy we have, and our 3-time league champion, and won 2nd place, Andrew Rock.
Yeah.
So he joins us for that conversation, which we will put in now.
Star wipe.
All right, we are here with some Flotsam and Jetsam, and we have a special guest with us here today, Mr. Captain Competitive himself, Andrew Brock. So what, we've had 4 complete seasons in the OSBGL,
That is correct.
and you have won how many of them?
3.
3, and the one that you didn't win, you came in what place?
Second, I think it was.
So 3
Second.
first place and 1 second place. And you are an accountant,
Yep.
and as I'm fond to say, you have like what I consider to be a photographic memory, because it's like I can never, like I'm terrible with recall on the rules, and you are just like incredible with recall on any rules or stats.
It's a rarity when I miss a rule. Let's
It
just say
is.
that.
It is.
The best is when you call people out on stuff and you're like, haha, gotcha.
The gotcha moments.
Gotcha
It's
moments.
like I know your rules better than you do.
Yeah.
It happens a fair amount, actually.
So the subject of today's Flotsam and Jetsam is kind of the best and the worst of the Middle Earth edition of strategy battle game. And what that means specifically is kind of the models or armies that got improved or made worse by the new edition. So we were going to go top 3, but just because conversation ensued mostly about the ones that got better,
Yeah.
which
it was,
were surprisingly almost all good armies.
It was top
Yeah.
3 and you guys had like 8
Yeah.
choices. It was
Yeah,
like,
well,
how
we
can you do top 3? You have 8 choices.
Yeah,
Well, we chose top 3, and then we're like, well, this one actually is 3, and then this one so just keeps
Yeah,
going
there's
down
some.
and down.
I'm like working, and I'm like, what the hell? There's like 10 notifications here, and I read through, and it's like pages of text. Like,
yeah, we
okay.
got a little into the conversation on the armies that improved. We were going to cover individual models, because a lot of models that aren't included in our lists did either get a lot better or worse. But what we ended up trying to do to control the conversation was we're sort of limiting it to armies as a
Yes.
whole. And we're not really talking about the Legendary Legion stuff here. We're really talking more about the core armies. I don't think we
Well,
ended up with any Legendary Legions here.
We
did we?
didn't, although there were a reason for why some armies are now garbage, but
Yeah.
we stayed away from them because this is the idea is what improved with the new edition, and the Legendary Legions didn't exist in the previous editions.
Right.
So.
But we figured for this conversation we'd bring in like an expert on what's competitive and what's not.
I know a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
the guys that like to bring the fun stuff.
Yes.
There's a reason why I've never won a tournament.
No, you won a tournament. You were partnered with me for doubles event.
Yeah, that doesn't count. There's an asterisk besides that tournament win.
Yeah.
So what should we do? Start with the stuff that got worse.
Yes.
Start at the bottom.
So we're gonna start at the bottom. So we've got 4 here. So we'll start from 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 being the one that got the most worst, I guess.
Yeah.
It got hit the hardest.
Hit the hardest, yeah.
With the get down hammer.
Yeah.
It
The
fell
nerf
off the
hammer.
tree as far as possible.
Yeah. The first one is kind of an odd list. It kind of made our top 3, and then we sort of moved it out, mostly because it's become, with Legendary Legions, kind of an irrelevant list. Certainly not for fluff purposes, but for competitive purposes. The Rangers in the core list, because of Rangers of Ithilien and the Grey Company in the Armies of Gondor book. The only model that's not included in those lists is Arathorn.
Yeah.
So the Rangers list has then sort of become like Arathorn's list.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
well, I
could
think
call this list Arathorn's list.
it's from that age, right? Like it's back before the actual time of the.
Yeah, well, and
Right.
Arathorn lived before, the War of the Ring, and, like, what I always, like, look at this list is it's kind of, the Dunedain around Rivendell and protecting the Shire kind of before War of the Ring, but whereas the Grey Company was a specific part of the War of the Ring story, as was the Rangers of Ithilien, where they were like a specific like chapter or whatever in the book. What else did we have here about this?
So I think one of the things to talk about with this list is probably the only list that really got hit hard because of the Legendary Legion. When this came out, it used to have the option for putting in, it was really cheap, like 7-8 point Rangers, so you could field out like a 40-50 model army, and then this came out, and now it's like
No warriors.
no warriors, And I guess it's kind of moving in the same vein as like the story with like there's only 30 members of the Grey Company that went along, and then which was fine. It kind of had its place, and then all of a sudden the Legendary Legion came out, and it was pretty much exactly the same as the Rangers, but without Arathorn.
So the way I look at it is this list is kind of in the book now more of an ally list.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so.
Either you take this list and you ally other stuff in with it, or vice versa, right? You just bring stuff in from this list as an ally if you want to play.
It's one of the only, well, there's a couple lists that you can ally, but it's one of the lists that you can ally like heroes into the Dead of Dunharrow list.
Oh yeah.
Because it has Aragorn, and the only way you can get like the allies of historic allies,
right.
or the green allies as we like to call it, is one of this it's one of this list, and I think Minas Tirith is the only other one,
Right.
because they're the only ones that have actually Aragorn in them, to allow that green ally. Otherwise you can ally them into anything and get the red ally, but these guys are a way to get cheap heroes with a point of might to add to that list, which is what they suffer from really.
Yeah, they do have a really good army special rule.
Their army special rule, I would say, is second best, with Fangorn being the best army special rule. So when you ally them into yellow or red allies, it's like you're going from a 2 attack model to a 1 attack 25-point model.
It's like you read their army list or their army special rule, and it's like a paragraph long, like all the stuff that they get from it. But then again, there's going to be very few models in the list getting those bonuses because they're all heroes worth like 25 points or whatever, 30 points.
Yes.
So that's like the fourth in our list of armies or factions, I guess, that got worse in the new edition. And what do we have as number 3?
Number 3 is Mordor. Now, caveat here, Mordor is still very good, but they actually lost a lot and gained very, very little in return. For example, the big thing about Mordor was always about ring wraiths. And ring wraiths took so many nerfs over the course of this edition change. Spellcasting got worse. Their special rules for the ring wraiths now cost will.
You gotta spend
a lot of the spells they want to cast also cost more. Sap will generally being a 5+.
Yeah. That was a big change because it used to be 3 for most.
Well, Sap Will is an example of a spell that got nerfed so hard that like you would almost never use it now.
Yeah, because you could be throwing 2 will or 3 will to get it off, and then you only take one of your opponent's.
Yeah, like you have like you're spending a point of will for 2/3 of a chance to make the other guy spend a point of will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like,
Which he could roll a 6 and get that back.
Get that back, yeah.
So.
And then to make it worse, you have the Fell Beast, which typically ring wraiths are riding, and the amount of nerfs that hit monsters and Fell Beasts, it was Mordor's bread and butter, and they took a big hit there.
and it was funny. Go ahead.
It's really just the hurl that took a hit. Like, they can still rend, they can still barge.
The other thing is that you can't do 2 brutal power attacks in the same turn.
And they can't strike.
Yeah, and a lot of them they can't strike, right?
Well,
They have the Witch King.
Yeah. The ring wraiths can't strike. Which
Yes.
is
Well, they can't strike, and transfix doesn't like completely gibble the guy.
Yeah, they got
so-
hit really hard.
Yeah.
And, well, the big strength of Mordor was the ring wraiths. If you saw a Mordor army, generally there was a ring wraith on a Fell Beast in it.
Yeah, it was a pretty big staple of our tournaments. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, that guy has like at least 2 ring wraiths.
Or I was the only guy who'd bring Mordor with 2 or 3 ring wraiths.
Yeah,
It was
and
funny
like
though. Like when the new edition came out, and that was one of the first things that everybody looked at was ring wraith on Fell Beast. And when you looked at their stat lines and the Fell Beast, it didn't really look that like they got hit at all. But really, when you digest the entire edition and all the rules and monster rules and spells and all of that, you realize like how heavily they did actually get nerfed.
Yeah.
And like you always say, they got nerfed in 5 different ways.
Yeah, and it's just like, just due to the way the different rules changed, all of it affected them. to really make them work, you have to do a lot to get them to do the same that they would do last edition.
They even removed they removed the Hornfell Beast to make it so that you can't get that strength 7 for the hurl purpose, right?
Yeah. Now, just I guess on the topic of ring race, the Witch King, like the Crown of Morgul, did get a lot.
That is the only notable exception.
Like I always like to say that like the Crown of Morgul is now the army special rule. Because like why you would not take it is just like
it's true.
So good.
Like there was I guess you call it a hierarchy of what you would take for ring race. It was always like Knight of Umbar, Shadow Lord. Undying was like the third one, or usually the first because he'd be your leader. And then the Witch King was like in that 3rd or 4th spot. Now it's like Witch King. Then it's Kamal now because Kamal has strike, so they both have strike and they can both cast spells. And Kamal is like he can still boost his fight
to 6.
with a will point, and then he gets his will back. So there's a couple of the ring race got a little bit better, namely the Witch King and Kamal, but the other ones they got hit real hard.
And the interesting thing is you don't see if you're going to take the Undying as your general, you don't see that army take the Witch King because of the hero of legend versus the hero of valor. Because when you take the Witch King, he automatically becomes your general. So if you take the Undying, the biggest benefit of the Undying you can't get.
Yeah.
Which is
he's automatically number 2.
He's automatically number 2.
So the nerfing of ring race
sort of
fundamentally changed or took away kind of what was previously the strength of the army.
Exactly.
One of the most commonly seen strengths anyways.
The other component to Mordor was a huge faction. It had so many different options. And I'll pick one in particular that they lost that was pretty critical for them, and that's the Spectre. If you saw a Mordor army, it had ring race, and then it had at least 2 Spectres in it. Because the amount of shenanigans for movement you could do was huge. Now that that's gone,
well, because Harbinger of Evil,
the negative 1,
it works so well.
Effect,
it works so well with the forces with you.
Yes.
The force is with you. Yeah.
I felt like
it's a foul light is in you, but the force is with you. The force is with you, Frodo.
With Mordor, you tended to find with a heavy orc build, whether it was Morannons or regular, you'd take a shaman because you want that fury. Well, now fury's been nerfed. I mean, it still gives you the terror, anti-terror effect, but the resilience factor from it, you're not seeing it that much anymore.
No.
And then Mordor doesn't have a lot of big tier heroes.
No.
Because they also lost Sauron. He's no longer in the Mordor list. So you have the Mordor Troll Chieftain is kind of the biggest one. And he's a really slow model. And in an era where big heroes are on mounts, they're just going to stay away from him.
Yeah. Right? And it's like Gothmog is...
He's the big thing.
He's good, but
he's fight 5.
Yeah.
He's
no Azog.
He's no Azog. He's fight 5, and he has access to bring a lot of might to the table through that supplementary character he's got that gives his will for him. The Master of Battle. But he's still only fight 5 in strength 4. And they've gained, Mordor's gained a little bit from Grishnak and Gorbag have picked up some special rules, but overall, Mordor's lost an awful lot and gained very, very little in return.
Yeah, most of the loss though was with the ring race.
Yeah.
I think the biggest part to that was that.
Well, basically they took Mordor and pulled an entire faction out of it, and it's Barad-dûr now.
Yes.
So how could they have gotten better having that happen?
Yeah. I mean, them changing spellcasting and ring rates has changed the meta.
Yes.
It has, yeah.
So if your army is defined by ring rates and they've now changed it, you're going to be suffering.
Yeah.
The meta used to be ring rates on fell beasts, and now it's something similar, but just the other side of the coin.
I just remember the point that I was going to bring up back to the whole ring rate thing was you'd see an arms race kind of with you're going to take a ring race on fell beasts? Okay, well I'll take 2.
That's right.
Because your one guy can sap will my guy, but I can have both my guys sap will your guy. Yeah. And it's well fine, if you're going to take 2, I'm going to take 3. And it was always that struggle, do I even take 1? Yeah. Is it even worth taking 1? Because that guy's going to have 2 and he's just going to out-sap will me.
Or you all of a sudden started to see Galadriel, Lady of Light all over the place.
She appeared
Yeah.
She was like,
I wonder now that ring wraiths are slowly disappearing from the tables if Galadriel, Lady of Light, will also.
no.
I think you'll see her there for the purposes of anti-shooting. Because shooting got a lot stronger this
Oh,
edition.
plus she is very good at fighting against the dead of Dunhara.
Yeah.
Her banishment spell is like a machine gun to those guys.
You're a good army, right? But
Yeah.
you're still a spirit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, banish.
I almost lost my one game against Sean because she was like, it was like the game wouldn't end. It was one of those roll a 2, 1 or 2, the game ends.
Yeah.
It just kept going on and on and on and on. And he's like, 2+ kill a guy, 2+ kill a guy. I'm like, wow, this is the easiest way that I've seen these guys die.
It's more effective than Legolas.
Yeah, I think she killed 12 guys throughout the course of the game because we just couldn't roll a 1 or 2 to end. I'm like, why is this not ending?
Yeah.
Like I wiped out most of his army except for Galadriel and one other hero, and she's just like, kill a guy, kill a guy, kill a guy. And I'm just like, bleh. Oh.
Alright.
Alright.
So that was number 3. Okay, number 2.
Where'd your shit go?
Continuity,
It was
man!
banished.
Continuity!
Banish. Boom, banish.
Who's doing this?
This is you, Beth.
Oh, the Shire. Yeah, the Shire.
Number 2, the Shire.
The number 2 biggest loser.
Yeah. Now, the Shire, when we started talking about this, actually, their heroes got better.
They did.
Some of them got a little bit more expensive, but like I think 3 of their heroes went from independent heroes to like minor or
Fatty Boulder
fortitude.
can now take 6
Yeah.
hobbits.
The hobbits got a little bit more expensive, but they gained a bit of stuff.
Well, they needed to have those heroes that way to allow you to actually use the army.
Yeah, yeah, because that was the problem that the army list had before. Was it was really difficult to build the army because there were so few
Yeah.
heroes that could lead troops.
And the only thing that could lead them was that one box with the
Yeah.
4 mounted heroes that was like non-existent for a really long time.
Yeah, well, and there
So-
was what is Brandibus,
Brandibus
Bolor?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bolor.
so it's good that he's now like in the
Part
list,
of it,
and
yeah.
Bilbo is in the list now as
So
well. So
they added that stuff, but they still took like their warriors, like you say, got more expensive. The really good rules, like I think it's the
Fighting
Turkish
Brandenburgs?
hunters and fighting Brandenburgs. You can still take them, but like we've seen with other armies and special rules like that through all of the armies, they're warband specific.
yeah,
Which has hurt a lot of, well, it's made a lot of armies, you have to build them a certain way. But with these guys specifically, those 2 lost the ability to take them across the army. So if you're going to take your Turkish hunters, they're going to be in that one warband, and you're going to basically have a whole warband of bows or whatever in
Yeah.
that list.
but I think like the fact that all 3 of their warrior models, what is it, militia, archer, and sheriff, all went up a point. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're talking about a 4-point model going to a 5-point model, that's
Yeah.
a 25% increase in
Their
cost.
stat line is pretty terrible to begin with, and
Yeah.
they've got no spear support options.
Yeah,
So to go up to 5 points, it's like, that's
Yeah,
a hard
is.
jump.
And they're like, you want to spam them because they're terrible.
yeah.
So the one way to counter that is to just buy a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
The other big thing is their bows that were really good before because they were 24-inch shot as
Human bow,
opposed to their throw stones is now
A
short
short bow,
Yeah.
18-inch range.
yeah. So they lost 6 inches to the shoot.
Yeah, when we were having the conversation about this earlier or whatever, and you mentioned that, and I'm like, that
I didn't
completely
even know.
completely over my head, right?
Yeah,
Didn't
I'm gonna
even
have to go
notice it.
through and like specifically look at every model profile and be
Yeah.
like, oh, this has changed, so
Yeah.
I can pull the gotcha.
Well, yeah, I actually did that with like I'm playing Khazad-dûm this year,
Sure.
and one thing I did earlier is I recorded the army list, like audio recorded it, just so that I could listen to it on my commute, and I noticed a few things in there that had changed from the other list, and so today while I was waiting for my wife getting her hair done, I brought it with me. And I was just comparing it like stat line to stat line all the way through the army list. I was surprised how many small changes happened in that list that I missed, like at least half a dozen. So, and I'm sure it's not the only list like that's like that.
And small tidbit for everyone who's building army lists, look at what's actually included in the list versus the units entries that you see in the army list, because you will see little Easter eggs in there. Like for example, Bilbo Baggins in the ring is in a Rivendell list, so you could bring the ring in a Rivendell list.
He's an old man hobbit or
Old Man Baggins.
But the way the formatting of the book is that they don't give like a photo entry of that unit if it's been previously shown in another list.
That's
so like when we were talking,
Mordor, right?
we were talking about Mordor, I'm like, oh well, Shelob's not in the list anymore, and he's like, no, yes, it is in the list.
Yeah.
It's just not in like a
There's no
picture.
photo entry.
You gotta be
Yeah.
careful because even like building your list,
Yeah.
you could be like, oh well, this guy used to be in here,
Yeah.
so you're just like, oh well, he's not in this list because he was in another part of it. It's like, whoa, he's not in that actual list anymore,
Yeah.
so you can't even take him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like to continue with the Shire, we're in this era of big combat fighty heroes,
Yeah.
and I think it's partly to do with the fact that Magic got hit so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like, hey, now I can take my big fighty hero and not have to worry about getting transfixed every turn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Hobbits didn't get anything like that.
No, and like I always like to compare the Shire list with Survivors of Laketown,
Yeah.
because although they're two completely different lists, they're very similar types of lists.
Sure.
Right, like tons of like trash, for lack of a better word, good shooting, and then they've got like a lot of good utility heroes with them. And now there's just like no contest between which of those two armies is better. Like
Yeah.
Survivors of Laketown is like hands down better than the Shire
Sure.
now. It's not even close.
If you want to ruin yourself building that many fine cast models,
Yeah.
you deserve to win games if you can build that
It's
many.
kind of like an all metal army versus an all fine cast army.
Like
almost.
if it was plastic, everybody would be playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason that people aren't, just
True.
because
Yeah.
it's fine cast. They did lower the price point of it when they did the whole clumping everything together.
Yeah.
But still, it's hard material to work with. It is better detail, but it's hard to work with. You gotta wash it and
You have to unwarp almost everything.
yeah. So
If it's a weapon, I have to unwarp it, and if it's a sword, it's gonna break. I just have to accept that the blade's coming off.
Did I tell you the last time I used my army of Thor? I was like going to reach to pick up Thorin, and I was like putting my fingers, and I just touched the tip of Thorin's sword, and went boink and snapped off.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Didn't you lend out your Thor model?
Yeah, I
and
did.
something happened?
I was like, okay, you can borrow my model, but if you're breaking it,
I didn't break it.
and literally the last possible move of the game broke
No,
me.
the game was over.
Oh,
Weren't
game was
weren't
over.
you picking up the model to give back to
Yeah,
the
no, my
person?
opponent was just passing me my models, and he just like touched the top of the sword
Yeah.
and it just fell off.
yeah, whatever.
So, yeah.
Like it's terrible material to work with. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that they've gone to this new hero plastic model line. Obviously, some stuff's never going to get to that point, but it angers me.
It angers me.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Shire.
Yeah. So we had the Rangers at number 4. We had Mordor at number 3. Number 2 was the Shire, and number 1.
Oh, this is so painful.
The hardest hit, most heavily nerf batted list is
Corsairs of Umbar.
no.
Oh.
Actually, that's not even close. Yeah.
My first army and my
Yeah.
first passion to this game.
It's like a lot of people play this army.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's Isengard.
Yeah.
Isengard. Like we watched or we listened to Faithfully Green Dragon, and they had one episode where they did an incredible episode of rating all of the lists in tiers, 1 through 5.
There's a lot
And
of
it was really long podcast, but and a little bit subjective, but like for the most part, they got it really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And they had Isengard in there as tier. What was tier 1 the highest?
Yeah.
They had Isengard in there as tier 2,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone would argue that
No.
Isengard was lower than tier 2.
No.
before in the previous edition.
Certain builds might have been.
Yeah, like you can deliberately build an uncompetitive fluffy Isengard list,
Sure.
Yeah.
certainly. But they had all of the tools to be a really competitive list in the previous edition.
Yep.
Not anymore.
No.
They, they did get some bonuses. Let's say some
They have the
improvements.
tools, they just got really blunted.
Yeah. well, like one of the big ones for them, and it's just one model, which is the Feral.
Yeah.
You see this throughout the edition, where some models, as like what we call, have been effectively like removed from the game.
Yeah.
Because like removed from the game in the sense that yes, they're still there, but people just aren't going to take them.
Yeah.
You're just not going to see them on the table anymore.
Mhm.
And it's the double tap.
Yep.
It's like, okay, fine, that model probably was too good in the previous edition
Sure.
and maybe needed like a slight adjustment. But instead of doing a slight adjustment, they did like 2 adjustments to it, which basically makes it so that nobody will ever take it again.
Yeah. It's like,
And
you're
that's
up
what this one
here,
is. Yeah.
and we want
It's
you
like,
to be
okay,
here,
so
so we're gonna put you
You're
here.
too good, so we're gonna make you worse and increase your cost.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they had only done one of them,
Yeah.
then maybe you would see that model used. But like lowering it from defense 5 to defense 4 and increasing its point cost, you're just never going to see that model anymore.
No.
Ferals and Berserkers both suffer from the same problem, is that Courage is overcosted in this game.
It is.
Courage 5 on a Feral is great, Courage 7 on a Berserker is great, but they're paying like a point for every piece of that Courage.
Yeah.
And it's not worth it because Courage is situational.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same situation with the next model, which is the Berserker. And now the Berserker, it really took a small hit, but it's a big enough hit to see that model like far less frequently in builds. And that is its defense dropped from 6 to 5, but they did add not oblivious to pain, impervious to arrows.
Yeah.
So really what it means is they get +1 defense from shooting. So what that means is they lost 1 point of defense, but only in melee.
Right.
But they're melee fighters,
Yeah.
right? So yes, okay, fine, they're defense 6 until they get where they want to be,
Yeah.
and then they drop to defense 5, and now they're killed on a 5+ by models that previously only had to be strength 4. So now they can be killed by a strength 3 model
Yeah.
on a 5+, whereas before you needed a strength 4 model to kill them on a 5+. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but what it means is they get into combat and they die.
Yeah. I think the idea behind that was from the battle. Legolas shoots the guy 3 times. And
Yeah, I like the rule,
Yeah.
impervious to arrows. It's a clever rule, and I like it, but the net effect is just dropping their defense
Sure.
of a 15 point like front line model.
Yeah.
It's like, why, like,
I know.
I play the army a lot, and I've
Yeah.
used them a lot, and just getting into a fight now with guys you wouldn't even worry about before, like people don't even shield against them anymore because they know they can kill them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Run with shield.
there was a small subset of all the strength 4 armies that would go up to them and be like, okay, it's Berserkers, whatever, we'll just push through. A lot of the strength 3 armies, which the majority of the game is strength 3 armies,
Yeah.
are saying to themselves, oh my god, Berserkers, this is rough. Now I see Berserkers on the table, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna charge them and kill them.
I don't like Berserkers. The one thing that they
Yeah,
are good
Courage
against.
7.
Yeah, they're awesome against the Army of the Dead.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but see, this is another thing. Like, if you thought the model was too good and it needed to be nerfed somehow, take off a couple points of courage.
Yeah.
You know, like they
Well,
don't need to have a 7 courage.
They did get a special rule, and I'm thinking they were worried that it was going to be too powerful with a defense 6 as well.
Oblivious to pain.
Yeah. So they have a 6+ fate save, as you can call it,
Sure.
or whatever you want to call it. But like my thinking is they were afraid that the defense 6 on top of that would make them too good.
You could have just made the 6+ fate save be against shooting.
Yeah.
and left them at defense 6.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they're a very resilient model to shooting. Great,
Sure.
fantastic.
Yeah, because like every time Aragorn or Gimli attacks them on
They
the wall,
just die.
They die. But Legolas shoots them twice and can't kill them.
Yeah. Like knock a couple points of courage off, give them the oblivious to pain, and leave everything else the same. That to me would have been better, but I guess they wanted to bring in that rule because it's the same rule that the Gundabad berserkers have.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you just can't rely on that rule.
No.
Like a 1 in 6 chance of your guy surviving, and they only get one chance.
Yeah.
Because
There's
if
only
they
one
fail,
of-
they're gone for the rest of the game. It's
Yeah.
not like you get like 5 or 6 chances to roll a 6. You get one chance to roll a 6,
And
if
you
you
only
don't
got
get
one
it, you're
shot.
gone.
Yeah. And you get this really, I'm gonna say thematic, but it's a garbage special rule for their Berserker Blade, which allows them to do one attack against each model in combat with them, friend and foe.
Yeah.
But you have to wield the damn thing two-handed.
Yeah.
So you're at -1 to hit, or on the dual roll, and it's just like, you're not gonna win that fight.
No.
So it's a very thematic choice, but you're never gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So
You're never
right
gonna
there,
do it.
right there, you got Ferals and Berserkers both taking a fairly major hit, and those represented like the major offensive threat of the whole army.
Yeah, they were the
Right.
big hitters of this, right?
The other thing that in the army, which was really good utility, a lot of people liked it because it was like not believable, was the crossbow pike combo.
I honestly think that whole idea was started because of this friggin' guy. No one took it before.
That's
And then-
just in our scene.
Yeah, okay.
In our meta, yeah, pretty much.
People were like,
got
wait a
out of that.
minute, you can actually take crossbows and pikes and it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
It actually, I'll be honest, it was probably the best warrior model in the entire game last edition.
Agreed.
Because of its ability to fire the best shooting weapon, and then be like, I'm just gonna pike support to up to 2, and it was like, oh my god. When you saw that on the table, you were like, this is frustrating.
But they were defense 5, so
But they were
do
strength.
die. Like you have a 12-point model that's defense 5 and can easily be killed by shooting. But anyway,
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is that now if you do that combo, you're -1 to your dual roll. So again, the net effect is that you don't do it. So
But even worse is you're -1 your dual roll, whether you're supporting or whether you're in combat.
exactly.
So if you're like, originally I was thinking, well, I'll still just do it, and then I'll just charge into combat with them sometimes, and I
Yeah,
get the
it's
-1.
not just if you're supporting. It's also like if you're in base contact fighting.
It's like your guys all have banners.
Yeah, it's like,
Or
oh my
they're
god, I'm
fighting
way
armed.
down by. But anyways, it is what it is. But like to me, it's people get hung up on that. It's not realistic, but it's just as realistic as someone fighting with a spear and a longbow at the same time, which there are plenty of examples in the rules, and
Yeah.
that nothing happened to that.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like, I'm gonna carry this
Yeah.
like 8-foot stick
yeah.
and this like huge bow, and I can use them both perfectly.
In the movies, like they show the Uruk-hai using what is a heavy crossbow,
Sure.
right? It didn't have to be a heavy crossbow. It could just as easily been a light crossbow. The game doesn't get into that kind of detail.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress.
It's just as realistic as a worm digging through the soil, then magically disappearing, and an army coming out from underneath
Yeah,
it.
it was just like they did that to stop people from doing that combination.
It's a
Yeah,
it's a meta
yeah.
change. No, I get
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
a
get
meta
it, I get
change.
it.
Yeah. So the other thing, a small thing, but it's kind of a shame, was that ruffians were removed from the list. Ruffians, they're a trash troop, but like a lot of people took ruffians for like cheap archery, because they actually were decent archers with a human bow, 4+ shoot, and they only cost like what, 5 points, 6 points, something like that.
Yeah.
So that was a good option, and sort of the shame of it was they've been moved into what is now a largely irrelevant sort of scenario.
It's a funsies
only
list.
It's a thematic
kinda
list.
thematic list.
It was nice to have 2 or 3 ruffians sitting on a back objective
Yeah.
and just shooting.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, we saw some point increases. Ugluk, Sharku, Vrasku, and the Uruk-hai captain all went up in points.
Maher also went up by 5 points.
No.
No.
I don't think so. And he stayed at 60.
But all of those heroes outside of Uglug did not get heroic strike. Vrasku and Maher, that was my big shock. Vrasku and Maher were my usual 1-2 that I have in my army, didn't have heroic strike. I'm like, great, you guys have march. Fantastic.
Well, because Vrasku's thing
Yeah.
is shooting, so he's the one that got accuracy.
Right.
So for me, having accuracy is far more important than having strike for Vrasku. But it still sucks that, like, they probably did deserve to go up by 5 points.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they were all really good.
They were.
So, don't have really an issue in the sense that they all went up by 5 points, but, well, that probably costs you like a whole Uruk-hai warrior in your army list now. So the army list lost out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
There's like a minor thing, and I'm only mentioning it because I was trying to do that army, and then it got freaking thrown under the bus, which was Maher's scouts.
The scout army.
Yeah, so before you could do any Uruk-hai scout could take a 1-point upgrade to get the Maher's Marauder,
Yeah.
and now it's only his warband.
So that gives him an 8-inch move instead of 6.
Yeah, granted, I think that he's a hero of valor, so.
Nice fortitude.
Oh, is he fortitude?
He is.
Oh well, but
So
some of the other heroes
the army did actually get some improvements,
Yeah,
and they were good ones. Lurtz.
Wow.
Lurtz became the hero he
He
should
became
have
the
been.
hero.
Yeah, nobody's gonna argue with that, right?
Yeah.
He's like,
You
what's he
can
worth
actually
now?
take a
90
shield and it's
points.
worth it.
He's worth 90 points.
Yeah.
He got a +1 attack, +1
Wound?
or defense,
+1 wound.
+1 wound. He just got a lot better. He's cost more at 90 points now, but he's
Got
the
lots of
hero.
heroic rules.
He's the hero he always should have been now.
Yeah.
So that's good. They now have. He's definitely not a top rung melee hero.
No.
It's still something the list lacks. But he's like at least top rung of mid tier sort of hero range.
His special rule, find the halflings.
Oh my god.
Really good rule.
Yeah, that was like a major win for that list.
It is.
Is
Yeah.
that rule?
Yeah.
It's obviously not enough
No.
to really help it, but
I was kind of hoping for the kind of a shield special rule where he could throw his shield like a throwing weapon.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things they could have done, but I'm happy with what they did do. I mean, it's a much better character than what it was before. The other one was Thryden, sort of like often overlooked, but he got a point of fight added to him, which put him up to fight 5 now,
yeah.
which makes him like ridiculously better than he was before.
Sure.
And he's one of the strengths of the list now. Also, the Isengard troll
Oh my god.
got a lot better.
Yes.
But it's a troll.
It's a
So
troll.
it's like, they're like
Yeah, they
not
they got,
the most competitive
it's like,
model. And
hey,
No.
your fight 6 is not fight 6 anymore.
yeah.
But not only is it fight 6, they bumped the fight 6, he's got the strength 7, he's got the defense 8, so he's
yeah.
better than a Mordor troll. Very good model.
Yeah,
When I
it
saw
is
that, I
good.
was very surprised.
Yeah.
Happily.
And the Uruk-hai bow is kind of a new thing. So like an orc bow, but strength 3 instead of strength 2. So again, it's a few good changes I think that were needed, but it's not enough to offset the damage, let's call it, or the nerfing that was done to the list, and not enough to keep it in the tier that it was at. And like I think now it's definitely dropped into sort of mid-tier sort of
You
obscurity.
forgot to mention the most important thing.
What's that?
Their army special rule.
Yeah, there are.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, their army
It's
special was
okay.
their army special was actually taken them because they used to be, when you think of Isengard, you think of them in the Battle of Helm's Deep. Big defense 6, strength 4 guys locking shields and pikes. The army special rule kind of makes you want to push towards having a scouting force.
Because you get, what is it, like
Woodland
certain
creature.
models get woodland creature.
Scout,
Yeah.
isn't
The
it-
scouts get woodland
Yeah.
creature. Was it Vrasku, Maher? I think it's Uglug also all get woodland creature.
Yeah.
And with taking Maher and giving him 12 scouts with bows, and the Maher's Marauders
Yeah.
upgrade, it creates this very hit and run kind of an army.
Throw a drummer in there,
Yeah,
so you can move like 5.5 inches and still fire your bows at.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy.
And the other part of their special rule is that you don't test for break until you're at 2/3.
Yeah, but you're still broken.
You still count as broken, but you
Sucks.
don't actually have to
Test.
make a stand fast, right?
Yeah. So you guys.
So I always used to think that was a really good rule, because that army is an army that's designed to go toe to toe in a grind fight against another army and win.
Yeah.
So basically, you're supposed to get the other guy's army to breakpoint before you are, and this was just insurance in case it was like closer than it should have been. Well, they're gonna start testing for break before you do, and so again, then it's gonna make sure they run before you do.
Yeah.
But like so much of like the offensive strength of the army has been neutered now, that I just don't think that rule is really gonna help them that
The army's
much.
really just a shield warrior.
Yeah, the army now is it's all about like
Shields and
Uruk-hai
pikes.
warrior with shield, and then you're gonna have guys with pikes and guys with crossbows.
And the worst part about that rule is that it only affects Uruk-hai.
It only affects Uruk-hai.
So when you take Mordor orcs, when you break, the orcs have to test for break at 50%, but no one
no,
else
they're
is
not
allowed to.
Mordor orcs. They're just orcs.
They're just orcs.
Like you can actually build a really effective orc army with Isengard list, but like that rule doesn't help them.
Yeah, so there's no point.
Like you can build an army list like of like warg riders, Sharku, lots of orcs with shields and spears. You know, throw a few Uruk-hai warriors with shields in there, and then have all your heroes be Uruk-hai.
Yeah.
Right? And it's pretty good list.
Yeah.
But like that rule is useless
Yeah.
pretty
you
well.
can, it's basically saying ally to whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. Those are our 4 that sort of got hit the hardest. The Rangers at number 4, Mordor at 3, the Shire at number 2, and Isengard,
Oh, that hurts.
the number 1 most heavily nerfed list from the previous edition.
That's painful.
Okay.
All right, so that is our thoughts on, I don't know which one we put up, either the biggest winners or the biggest losers.
Yeah.
But the other one will come at the end of our next episode.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, well, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us, and don't forget to get your toy soldiers out and come and join us for some games in the OSBGL.
Yep. Have fun.
See you next time.
Bye.
Alright. You guys are working your magic here on this one.
Get out here, you jets.
Okay, we ready? We ready? Everybody, 1, 2.